you. Welcome to the April 16th, 2025 minutes. Try again. Welcome to the April 16th, 2025 meeting of the Conservation Commission. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision. Under each authority, all matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. Roll call, please. I will start with Jessica.
Scott Sobey.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Autumn Wood.
Sandy Slavin.
Michael Mercier.
Joseph Still.
Kwame Barty.
I declare we have a quorum and we're open. So the first hearing, please. Autumn.
Notice of public hearing. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held in Room 520, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Massachusetts, on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, at 6 p.m. On the request for determination of applicability for Robert Fort, 6 Glen Ave, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571. 10-foot by 16-foot storage shed, map 50F, lot 82, 6 Glen Ave, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. We are 700. Is there anybody here representing this project please to come forward and talk to us, please?
You pretty much said what I'm doing, 10 by 16 foot storage
Okay,
shed.
can you stand for a minute and raise your right hand? I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding this project at 6 Glen Ave.
I swear to tell the truth and the whole truth on this project at 6 Glen Ave.
Yes, that's-
Wareham, Mass.
Yes.
And my name's Robert
Thank you very
Forty.
much.
Okay, have a seat, please.
Thank you.
All right, talk to us about this project. You're going to give up your little garden.
Well, I'm gonna put the garden in that 5 feet behind the shed.
Ah.
And I've got a garden on the other side. But you saw the shed, that's there.
I s-
It's getting ready to cave in on itself.
Okay, so anything else you want to talk to us about? Just that,
I'm not sure what you need to know.
so you're going to put in a
This
10
is-
by 16 shed on your property and you staked it out?
Yes.
You're going to have to give the green cards to the lady in the blue jacket?
These receipts also? How about I give you the whole folder?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start with Kwame.
No
Questions?
questions, thank you.
Joe,
None for me, thank you.
Michael,
I have no comments, thank you.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean,
No questions, thanks.
Scott.
No questions.
I remembered.
Thank you.
Jessica? No questions, thank you. I have none. I was there. I found 4 stakes. One happened to be next to the Andromeda, which I hope you're going to
That's my
save.
favorite plant.
I hope you're going to save that
All
one.
those plants are being saved. That's, you don't know how much grief I took from my wife for paying what I paid for that.
As a garden club member, I know.
Am I restricted color? How do I anchor it to the ground when you talk to the building
How are you going to
department?
how are you going to put it in? Is it going on sonic tubes or just sort of sit on the ground?
Well, no, well, it needs to be anchored, right? It's in flood zone, needs to be anchored.
Anchored? I'm not sure what you mean by anchored. How are you going? You're just not going to sit it on the ground, are you? You're going to put them on something.
Correct.
What?
Well, that's what I wanted to find out. Maybe the building department will tell me?
Yeah, yes, that would definitely be a good place to start. I mean,
Okay.
normally people would put
Sonotubes will-
sonic tubes in it and stuff like that.
That's what I would normally do.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to building this close to the ocean, so,
No, I think you're here because you're within our jurisdiction and you, that's it, pretty level area. Yeah. Okay. Christine, ready? I swear to tell the truth and nothing.
Yes.
Thank you, on all hearings in front of us tonight. Okay, your comments on this project?
Didn't have any comments. It's pretty simple.
Anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on 6 Glen Ave? Keep in mind, that's the one in Hamilton is the one as opposed to being out on the island in Onset. It was a while. Which Glen Ave are we going to? It took a while for me to determine which one. So hearing none and seeing none,
I motion to close the
a
hearing.
motion to close the hearing.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed. Your recommendation, please.
-2, -6.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. It's done. Before you start any work, see Christine, our conservation agent, for your proper documentation and work with the building department as to the best way to install this.
Yes, ma'am?
Thank you, Robert, and have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Nick,
Go see you later.
next, please.
On the request for determination of applicability for Titus Reposo, 24 Parker Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571. Installed 10 by 12 shed, side of garage, east side, map 57, lot 96A, 24 Parker Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Is
I
there-
motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Hearing is open. Anybody here representing this project online or in the audience?
Is anybody even here?
No. John's looking. 24 Parker Drive. Reposo. No one's raised their hand.
Table?
I would take a motion to table, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We're tabling this. Next one, please.
On the request for determination of applicability for Kevin Almeida, 6 Brayton Woods Drive, Rehoboth, Massachusetts, 02769, demolition of house, map 12, lot 35, 3033 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the
I
hearing.
have the motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Is there anybody here to talk to us about the Water Whiz project? Please come forward and identify yourself. It took me a while to realize what this was until I said, oh, it's Water Whiz.
Kevin Almeida, 6 Brayton Woods Drive, Rehoboth, Mass.
Thank you. Have a seat. Tell us that you're going to demo the house.
Yeah, we're demoing the house just for more parking for the park. Pretty much, that's it.
Swear 'em in.
Oh, yeah, didn't I swear you in?
Well,
I
you
swear to tell the truth. Please, Kevin, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth regarding 3033 Cranberry Highway. Thank you. Have a seat. I thought I had. Thank you for reminding me that had to come from Scott. Okay, just for more parking.
Just for more parking, that was it. We're not building any more buildings, it's just for parking. As you know, there is an issue there with parking, so
Yeah, all right.
we really don't need the house.
I'm going to ask questions, but you're going to tell us what you're going to do with the stuff you're going to remove from the site, but we'll go around first. Kwame,
No questions, thank you.
Joe,
No questions for me, thank you.
Michael,
No questions, thank you.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean.
I'm just confirming, it is that gray house, it has all the sawhorses piled up around it, and, yeah, obviously. I was concerned when I saw rodenticide boxes around the outside of the building, only because I didn't have a tape measure, but, you know, it's so close to the resource area there, the wet right
Yeah.
on the other side, and wildlife is one of the things that we're here to protect. And, well, there couldn't be a worse place for that, and I don't know how you feel about that, or if you even knew that they were placed there.
I didn't even know they were placed there.
Were they empty?
I didn't touch them, I didn't open, they were new, they were very clean and new looking, so they've been recently placed.
Okay.
So that was like, oh no, when I saw that. And then, you know, I did walk around in there, because I was thinking it might have been a different building, and I was exploring to make sure I had the right place.
Yeah?
And saw some of, I don't know how far over the property is owned. You know, if you walk parallel with the tracks, if you drive in towards the building and then turn left and we're walking along, there's a blue vertical post. Is that a marker of the property line? It's quite far in, but I know when we had you guys here before, there was a lot of discussion about the massive amount of trash and debris that's in the resource area. And so I took a peek, and it was gonna be removed, and there's, floating in the water, there's every kind of trash and junk known to man. Probably many years accumulation of it, way in where I can't imagine anyone would even walk in there to dump it, but I guess the buck stops with the landowner, and I wanted to just mention that
I'm
is
not
there,
that-
and it's
yeah.
troublesome.
Well, there is a lot of homeless people that live around there.
Well, unless they were each carried in a big trash bag of
No,
trash to
no,
bring to your
no.
land, I don't think we can,
No,
yeah, no, I know that there are,
Yeah.
but this was well in the middle of the wetlands.
talk about around the parallel with the tracks, around the back there.
You were, went in towards the building, and then before you hit the tracks, walked or drove to the left.
Yeah, to the
All
left.
along there, all of the wetland that's between there and Cranberry Highway is just full of every kind of junk, and it shouldn't be there.
All right, so you want it cleaned up?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I think we do.
All right,
Thank you so much.
no problem.
Scott?
So this is adjacent to an area that is scheduled. So this parking area is adjacent to an area that's previously marked as a replacement of wetlands. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that is for a parking lot extension. If, they're going through zoning and planning with that. So then the wetlands would be, that wetland area close to the building's gonna get moved and replicated over.
That's right.
But right now, that's nothing.
Nothing's happening there now. Okay, and do I assume correctly if I assume that you're going to use some kind of asphalt for the paving?
It's, right now, it's just gonna be crushed gravel.
Just crushed gravel?
We're not approved to do any asphalt work there yet.
Okay, very good. That
So
was
it's just
my-
gonna be what's there, just gonna be crushed gravel.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the notes, on the plan notes, what kind of material is going to be used.
Yeah.
No more questions, thank you.
Jessica? As the house is demoed, what are you going to do with the material?
The material is going to Taunton, Massachusetts?
It's going to be removed from the site.
Yes.
Does this ha-
Concrete, everything.
Does this have a cellar, or is it just on blocks?
Cellar.
So will that be filled in?
No, cellar's all coming out.
Well,
All the concrete's
isn't there a
leaving.
hole?
We're gonna fill it,
Oh, you fill it with clean,
clean fill.
okay. Paula Jean, what type of boxes of pesticides?
They're called, generally referred to as rodenticide boxes. There's a block of the ones I've seen many on the inside, block of poisoned bait. So the little mouse or whomever goes in, has a nibble, doesn't drop dead, but goes out, and the next
are-
day it's a little weaker. So meantime, the owl
No,
or the
no, is
neighbor's
this a
cat-
bait box?
Bait box, yes.
Well, the bait boxes had to be put there for us to demo the house. That's part of demoing, you have to have the house baited.
Well, it's right next to the resource area, and, all animals live there, and even if a mouse, for instance, we'll talk about a mouse dies, and then either a bird can scavenge it and eat it, and they die, or the neighbor, you don't have many neighbors
So
like
you
here
are
with their cat.
You are required to have these, right?
Yes.
Gee, too bad that article coming for us at town meeting
I
wasn't
know.
passed first.
And I was curious about that, that's under the health department, is that correct?
Yes, to get a demo permit, you have to
Right,
have
but
the house baited.
aren't there other methods available? I
Well,
think
that's
not
between them and
only way.
the health department.
Yeah,
We can't cover that.
I just hate to see them
But
there next to the resource.
appreciate your comments on it, and yes,
Okay.
it is. So maybe this is something we can speak to the health department about, using a better method of disposing
Yeah.
of the rodents.
Is there any underground oil tank?
No, it's in the basement,
In the basement.
tank's in the basement.
All right, Christine, your comments, please?
I didn't have any comments except for the debris that was in the wetland, but that's already been addressed.
If you want us to meet you out there, we can go over whatever you guys want us to take out, we'll clean it all up.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment on this project? Seeing and none, hearing none?
A motion to close the hearing?
Second?
I have a motion to close and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation?
And -3, -6 with cleanup of the debris in the wetland.
So moved.
Second?
And clean up. I have a motion and a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We are 700. It is done. Work with Christine to clean it up, and before you do any work, you have to get your permits and documents from her. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, please.
On the request for determination of applicability for Eric Dean, 191 Shawmut Ave, New Bedford, Massachusetts, 02740. Move attached deck over 3 feet. Sonotubes will be needed. Map 21, Lot 129B-5-21, 41 Pine Lake Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion
A second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstains. The hearing is open. Is there anybody here representing 41 Pine Lake Drive? I have one online. Okay.
All right, thank you.
You got them yet?
Hello? Hello?
Hi. Please identify yourself. I thought we had her.
How about now?
Yes, please identify yourself.
Eric Dean?
Okay, Eric, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding 41 Pine Lake Drive project.
I do.
Thank you. Talk to us about what you're trying to do.
We're gonna be remodeling the kitchen, and they wanna move the door over. So there's a small porch right outside it, and to do that, we need to move the 4x5 porch 3 feet to the right, so which means I have to put 2 new sonotubes in.
Okay? And 2 sonic tubes?
Yes.
All right. I will ask if there's any questions. Kwame?
So can we propose to have some kind of debris barrier set up when this construction happens?
And erosion control, yes.
Yeah, erosion control, yep.
Okay. Joe?
What kind of wood would you be using to build this newer deck, I guess?
It's gonna be a pressure-treated deck.
Okay. Is there any way this commission can condition the non-leaching chemical pressure-treated wood?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see something like that. And you're using like lattice underneath this deck? How far is the deck from the ground up?
It's approximately 2 feet.
Okay. I don't know if we could do like a breakaway panel or something like that. Are you proposing like any lattice underneath of this, or is it just going to be, you could lean over the side of the deck and crawl under it?
They want a skirt installed.
Okay, so there will be a way to like block that off, right?
Yes.
Okay. No more questions. Thank you.
Michael?
I guess just a quick question, following up on the previous 2 here. Is the deck going to be at the same exact spot, or is it going over slightly to the left or to the right? That's all.
We're moving the door approximately 2.5 to 3 feet, so we're gonna move the whole deck over 3 feet.
All right. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thanks.
Joseph? Scott?
Just want a clarification, the sonotubes rise, the tops of the sonotubes rise above the ground level, is that correct?
They can be flush with the ground level.
Okay, anyway, but they're not below ground level.
I have to dig down 4 feet.
4 feet, yeah, at least, I don't know if you're going to use a big foot or not underneath, whatever, but,
Oh, no, it's just a small deck. It's going to be a 12-inch hole, 12-inch tube.
okay. The point I'm trying to get to is that none of these, and do you have to use 6x6 posts by code by any chance?
No, because it's only 2 feet off the ground, so it's a 4x4 post.
All right, here's the point I'm getting at. The posts don't actually go into the ground, is that right? They sit on top of the concrete?
They get bolted to the concrete.
Right, so there's no post, there's no lumber in the ground itself, is that right?
No, there is not.
Right, so I don't see a reason for Greenheart here. I think PT is okay, but that would be up to the rest of the board to vote on that.
Does it still touch the dirt, though?
It does not touch the ground.
No, okay.
Okay. Jessica?
No questions.
I have one more. Would the risers and treads meet some form of contact with the ground?
Well, what I normally like to do is I like to pour a concrete slab on the ground and then put my treads and stringers on top of that.
Okay. Well, then, if the commission does decide, I wouldn't feel that condition of leaching pressure treated would be necessary then. There's no contact to the ground, so, thank you.
Thank you. Christine, your comments?
Do you know anything about the small deck at the back of the house?
The small deck at the back of the house?
Yeah, it's like almost looks like a floating,
Looks like a table.
yeah, almost, but it wasn't there previously.
I don't know about that. I think it's just, it's like just a patio. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't see anything about that. It wasn't there, and then all of a sudden it was, so.
But who would have put
As
it
far as
in?
I know, these people just recently bought the house.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Would you like to continue the hearing until we get a resolution of where this patio came from and who did it?
I'm not sure if it might have been a previous owner that did it. I think it was something seasonal, or could have potentially been something seasonal.
Because I honestly did not walk toward the water when I looked at the property.
Yeah.
Well, whose dock is it?
It's in the backyard. It's not like it's not in the water. It's just what looks like the patio.
What would you like us to do? Do you feel we should continue waiting for more research on this?
No, I mean, I don't think so.
Okay. Anybody online or in the audience speak to this project? Seeing none, hearing none.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation?
-3, -6 with erosion controls to be placed around the limit of work.
3 and 6 in erosion.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. It's done. Please work with the conservation agent to get your paperwork before you start the work, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
On the request for determination of applicability for Barty Patel, 7 Depot Street, East Wareham, Massachusetts, 02538, confirming the delineation of an isolated vegetated wetland location located on the property. Map 15, Lot 1022B, 8 Depot Street, East Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion
Second?
and a second. The hearing is, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The hearing is open. Please, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding this project at 8 Depot Street.
I do, yes.
Okay, identify yourself, please,
Brian Grady with GAF Engineering.
and talk to us about,
We're just here this evening seeking confirmation of the wetland delineation line, isolated vegetated wetland on this property. I did meet Christine to walk the flags last week. There were no changes. If I could respond to any questions. You do have a report from Environmental Consulting and Restoration as part of your packet. They did the delineation and they did a vernal pool evaluation and determined that it was not a vernal pool.
Just wetlands.
Isolated wetland,
Just a
correct.
little- okay. Questions? Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Joe?
No questions for me, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, ma'am, thank you.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Scott?
I'm sorry, Brian, I have no questions tonight.
I have one coming later, maybe not.
Okay.
Jessica?
No questions.
I went looking for Seed Street. I saw the sign, but I didn't see a street anyplace. The map says, the plan says Seed Street. I saw it, but it was everybody's parking lots, driveways. Christine, your comments, please.
I don't have any comments. I went out there and saw it in the field, so
Flags are all good?
flags are all good.
Anybody online or in the audience to speak to this project? Please come forward and identify yourself. Just come on, have a seat and get up to the microphone. And your name?
Timothy Fisher.
Okay,
I'm in a butter
all right.
to the property. Just a couple of things. One, there is no 8 depot. There's never been one. When I moved in 78, that was my first question about, is this a buildable lot? And my lawyer said, there is no frontage, there's no way this is a buildable lot.
Well, that would be for another department, not ours. We're here for the wetlands.
Right, but I figured, you know, you might want to know
You're
about
questioning whether or not the 8 Depot Street is a valid address.
That's the assessor's records, has it as 8 Depot, correct.
Okay.
I don't know how old that is. And the other thing is I just wanted to mention that it's something on the map that says an easement, 27 feet.
That would be something outside of our issue. You would have a question for the assessor.
Those are my 2 cents, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much for coming tonight and commenting. All right. Anybody else want to comment on this? Anybody online? I seeing none, hearing none.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
Positive 2A, positive 6.
So moved.
Positive 2A
A.
and 6.
Yes.
I have that motion. I heard a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. 700. We're approved.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Interesting. Next, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Bill Bachant, 121 County Street, Lakeville, Massachusetts, 02538. The proposed work includes raising an existing structure and the construction of a single-family home with associated driveway, grading, and tree removal within the 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands. Proposed work outside of the 100-foot buffer includes other driveway paving, grading, tree removal, and a septic system installation. Map 15, Lot 1007, 32 Tyler Ave, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. And who's representing this project? Anybody online? Please let him in.
Hello,
Please identify yourself.
I'm Jamie Bissonette with Zenith Consulting Engineers for the record.
Can you spell your last name for me, please?
I can, Bissonnette.
Okay. And please raise your right hand and say, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding 32 Tyler Ave"?
I do.
Thank you very much. And talk to us about this project, this cleanup of this pile of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of cleanup to it. So we're proposing to clean up the existing foundation with the building that's obviously collapsed in. And what we're proposing is a new residential house that falls between the 100 and the 50-foot buffer. We are proposing some backyard area up to the 25-foot buffer as well. And we're keeping the septic in the front with the majority of the driveway outside of the 100-foot buffer in the little area that is closer to the street. Obviously, this driveway, there's going to be municipal water to tie into, and the septic system is an advanced treatment D-Night system. The way that the site was kind of laid out was to keep the septic system as far away from the resource as possible, and then we pulled the house as far away from the resource as possible as well, and then gave ourselves a little bit of backyard while maintaining a minimum of 25 feet in the back. I did speak with the conservation agent today, and I do understand that there's some cleanup that's going to be required in the resource area. I'll be honest, I did not walk into the resource area that far back. So I did speak with my client today. They're aware of it. And I was going to report back to Mr. Bayshant as to how the meeting went and what the commission's pleasure was on that.
Yes, it was hard to ignore the sailboat and trailer
Yes. Yeah, I
sitting
understand.
in the water. All right, we'll go around for questions. Kwame?
I mean, other than the cleanup area, I like to see erosion controls when the work is being done. And also, too, where's the leaching area going to be put in?
So it's to the front. It's about 10 feet off of the right-of-way with Tyler Ave, and you'll see it runs pretty much parallel with the proposed driveway.
Right, I see that now. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm Joe?
You ready for me?
Yeah, I am now.
The silt sock erosion control that's being proposed, this close to the 25-foot buffer, I think we've normally in practice have gone a little bit extra over silt sock, straw wattles, hay bales.
No hay.
No? Yeah,
Straw.
hey, straw, use the correct terms here. Other than upping up the erosion control, I have no other questions, thank you.
Okay, Michael?
Before we continue, I just want to say that one of the abutters on this property I personally know, Rodney Fielding, he's a cranberry bog owner next door or in the back. However, I'm not speaking to him in a number of weeks, so he has no influence on my comments here tonight.
Thank you.
I just want to confirm here, the proposed tank, this proposed 1,500-gallon tank, that's going to be the, I guess the septic tank? That's the tank that's kind of closer to the road, correct?
It's in the front of the house.
Correct.
And it's right next to the number 22 and another one that looks like 33.4. When you're
Yes,
looking at the
correct.
plan, 10 feet off the house, yes.
Okay, so that is the septic system then?
That's the septic tank. It's actually also an advanced treatment unit that goes in there. It's called a microfast 0.5 unit. And that's going to do denitrification in that tank.
Okay, that's all I had, ma'am, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Autumn?
Do you know how many trees will need to be removed for this proposed dwelling?
That's a tough question because it's kind of started to grow up. There are some mature trees that will need to come down, but there's a lot of, I would say, newer or slightly newer growth that's there. So I don't have an exact number. We're showing the limit of clearing on here, but again, some of it isn't taking down really thick, nice growth. But you can see some more prominent trees that we're showing and we've distinguished on our survey here. I think we're showing around a half a dozen in this area, but I would venture to say if you and I walked and counted, would probably be more than half a dozen.
Are there any plans to do any replacement plantings?
There wasn't, for the reason being that we're trying to minimize the actual tree disturbance. You can see how we're wrapping it pretty tight around the site. We're trying to keep the native stuff and let that thrive and take over instead of expanding it further. We might be open for some additional plantings in that wooded area. If we find an area that's sparse with vegetation, we could be amenable to that. But we'd like to keep the small grass area that we're going to have the yard kind of as we're showing here, if that's possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paula Jean.
I had a concern about the trees as well. I feel like this piece of property's taken quite a hit already. And I don't know, you can't miss the sailboats, multiple trailers and debris and trash. Several people have mentioned that already. It's pretty horrific. Would you give any consideration to, instead of a pervious driveway, putting in some sort of impervious surface, crushed stone or grass pavers, something else? Again,
Yeah, so,
would really like,
yeah.
I think, would like to see that. That would help.
So, and sorry for interrupting you. Yes, in speaking with your agent today, again, she brought that up. I spoke with my client and they are amenable to a pervious driveway.
Okay, that's great, thank you.
Scott.
No questions, thank you.
Jessica.
No questions.
I do have one more, Sandy. A quick look on map GIS indicates that some of the rubble we are talking about, those larger kind of stones, seem to be on the neighboring property. I do know the sailboat and short trailer out there looks like it is on 32 Tyler Ave, but the rubble I also had concerns about, which look pretty much within that 20-foot, looks to be on the neighbor's property, a 30 Tyler Ave. I'm not sure if we can condition to remove that too, but
No,
wouldn't that conflict with the neighbor?
Yeah, we can't.
we cannot. It's not
that
within,
would-
it's not within 32. We can speak to the neighbor about what they might have in the wetland, but not this particular conditioning.
Interesting.
Now,
Okay, no questions, thank you.
it says 20-foot buffer to BVW. Aren't we a 30-foot setback from wetlands?
Yes.
Why do I
So-
have 25?
We're showing a 25-foot and then we're at least 5 feet beyond.
Look, I think the bylaw is 30 feet.
No, but I'm trying to see, it looks, if I take a look where the 25 is and add 5 more feet, the dwelling is outside of that, so.
Oh, yes, yes.
But we're going to ask for some type of marking showing where the 30-foot is outside the wetland. We tend to look for some type of fence or markings that identify it as wetlands, that no disturbance beyond this point, because we do have some signs that we can use to be putting on the site. I'm surprised, we need some dry wells around this property. Has there been any consideration of handling the runoff from the garage and the dwelling?
Not before speaking with your agent today. She did bring that up. I don't think that we're opposed to providing some type of roof infiltration out here. It would probably make sense for me to update the plan and bring it back to maybe to the next meeting, and also show some markings at the 30-foot buffer so that the commission can approve an updated plan.
So we'd change your erosion control to be straw bales or wattles as opposed to a silt sock? Is that better, Christine? What should we be using for erosion control at this site?
If you really wanted to, you could use both the wattles or the bales and the silt,
Your recommendation?
like a silt fence. Since it's already, dumping going on in that wetland, I would probably err on the side of caution and go for both the fence and the wattles, but
So straw bales and wattles.
yeah.
And we're looking at a better definition of our 30-foot no-work zone and dry wells and changing the driveway to be something impervious. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about? Replacement of the trees to the west side?
Something pervious.
Pervious,
What did I say, impervious? I have the word pervious in front of me. Pervious instead of what we got, so that's, sorry, misspoke. And I think there could very well be space on the west side for some tree replacements. Because that area going down to the wetland was pretty open. Is there anything else you'd like to have modified for the hearing, for our next hearing?
Well, I like the replacement trees.
Okay. So, you have any questions for us? If we are going to continue it until May
7th.
7?
We also have to add the signage too, but that's on our side.
Right,
But do we have that?
right, sign.
Do you have that down?
Yep. Conservation has it in their office, the little plaques, the 5x7s or 5x5s, whatever they are.
Yeah, it's usually like a split rail fence to be put
Yeah.
in, and then having those signs on it to
Yeah, so
delineate
we're,
where that
okay,
30
then,
foot is.
split rail fence and signs at 30 foot. All right, anybody here want to comment on this project? We are going to continue it. Anybody online? Definitely removing of the, everything, including boat and trailers. Okay, I'll take a motion to continue.
A motion to continue until May 7th.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are continued until May 7th. Thank you
All
very
right, thank
much. Okay. Next, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Eric Murphy, 7 Country Way, Sagamore, Mass. Construction of a single-family dwelling and associated site work with map 119, lot 23, 24, 25B, 50 Shangri-La Boulevard, East Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I
Second.
have a motion to open the hearing. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstains. Is there anybody online or in the audience to come here to speak to us on this project? Come forward and identify yourself and raise your...
Good evening, Sam Iamele, JC Engineering.
I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding the property at 50 Shangri-La Boulevard.
I do.
Okay. All right, talk to us, please.
So the property here at 50 Shangri-La Boulevard, this property abuts Glen Charlie Pond, and a majority of the site falls within the 100-foot buffer of the inland bank to Glen Charlie Pond. The overall project here involves the tearing down and rebuilding of an existing single-family dwelling. A portion of the work has taken place prior to this filing, which has included demolition of the house and the deck, leaving just currently the existing foundation. So the proposal for the new home would to be reconstruct within the same footprint, utilizing the existing foundation, reconstruct the existing deck that was there on the rear of the structure. There'd be 2 small expansions proposed, one being the front covered porch on the front of the house and on the rear extending the deck to the southwest corner of the dwelling. There's also a handful of pine trees around the property. We cited 6 of them that they would like to cut down. As for mitigation, we would replant 6 new trees to account for the 6 taken down. We've also proposed a row of blueberry bushes between the dwelling and the resource area. Dry wells will be installed to capture roof runoff from this house. Also, the clients here are fairly new owners, and walking the site, there's a lot of Various items such as patio remains, railroad ties, various debris. They would like to remove those items, off-site. And of course, we'd be providing erosion control around the perimeter of the proposed work. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
I have a picture from March 2024. I got a call on a weekend. They're taking the house down. And with 2 days, it was gone. No permit, no nothing. Shame. So it's been a year since this hasn't worked, but it's, okay, I'll go around. I'll start. Kwame.
No, you hit all the bullet points there. I guess my only question was the tree placements, but I guess that will be upon later on, so, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Joe.
You said you're taking out 6 trees and putting in 6?
Correct, yep, 1-to-1.
Would we be subject to a higher ratio of replacements? Take out 6, put in more than 6? I guess I would be fine with maybe not all trees. I mean, as long as there's 6 trees and there may be some new shrubbery, new growth.
Yeah, we had calling for 25 low bush blueberry shrubs in a row there. So the 6 trees and the 25 shrubs is what we have proposed at the moment.
Okay, no more questions for me, thank you.
Michael.
Yes. On the property, if you look far to the, say, left, or like,
If you're on the road looking?
If you're like looking at the house, or what was left of the house, and you look towards, say, like the far left, away from it, there's a bunch of stakes. And the stakes are labeled EC.
EC, erosion control.
That's what those are, erosion control?
Correct, yeah, that line, that black line labeled proposed erosion control, we staked that out on site.
Okay, so, okay, because I noticed that there was some, because I noticed there was some stakes there. There's also a few other stakes as well. Maybe not necessarily there, but also in a couple of far other spots too, off the, away from the house. So any stakes far away from the property, those were for erosion control measures then?
Yeah, the line that you see on plan was staked out to the far left. We didn't anticipate any work over there. I don't know if the neighbor had any stakes out for any sort of reason, but we staked out that erosion control line, the EC. Should have been the labels on the stakes there.
Okay. And Madam Chair, I imagine we'll probably get to this sooner, but I imagine there's going to be fines for this, for taking down the house and... All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
I expect so. Autumn.
With the demolition that's already occurred and, there's been some time in the property for erosion to occur and affect the land, are there any plans, once this new dwelling is established, to take care of the land, put any kind of grass plantings or other types of plantings aside from the trees and the blueberry bushes?
Yeah, they're fairly new owners, so like I said, they want to, clean up the site and do what they can to improve the site. We did call for, and they were willing to plant conservation seed mix in that area where their patio remains were, that disturbed area. And yeah, potentially have a grassed lawn sort of on the side of the house there.
Okay, thank you.
Paula Jean.
Yeah, I would like to see the replacement of the trees, not the 1-to-1, but I was thinking of 3-to-1. I just pictured the land there, once those trees are gone, it's just gonna be completely barren. And I'd like to know what type of trees would be put in, and little baby saplings aren't really,
Yep.
equal to a mature tree that's taken down. And I realize it gets very expensive to bring in, tree company and put in huge trees.
Right.
But maybe we can get specific about what kind of trees, how many, and how mature they will be when they're put in.
Yeah, sure. So we were calling for red maples or approved equal, so that they would, confirm with the conservation agent. We actually met Josh and Christine out there, and Josh was the one who recommended the 1-to-1 ratio to us for planting trees. So that's where we kind of came up with that assessment.
Okay, because we've had several conversations months back where several people here were proponents for not a 1-to-1, but a 3-to-1 or a 2-to-1. And I stuck with that thought. I'd like to see something like that, better than 1-to-1.
Okay, even with the red maples?
Yeah, I mean, red maples are great, they grow fast, they like the wet, that's a good choice. But I'd like to see a little more.
Okay.
And I think that's it. Thank you.
Scott?
I do have a couple of questions. The USGS map, which you've included in your packet, is used by FEMA to determine national flood hazard layers. That calls this wetland area, calls this body of water the Agawam River. And it's, on other maps, it's called Glen Charlie Pond. I imagine it's a pond because there's some kind of a dam somewhere.
Correct, yes, this is a dammed pond.
But is it not also actually a river? And there's I hope a germane point about this question.
You're looking for a 200-foot setback on a river.
200-foot setback on a river versus 100 on a pond. So I'm not sure that we have a clear definition, whether the U.S. Geological Survey definition trumps the one, I'm not sure what the locus map prepared by J.C. Engineering calls it Glen Charlie Pond, but it also calls it a river on the same map.
I'd have to look a little further
Sorry,
into that.
Christine, is there any? Who do we believe?
Well, you can believe either one, because
I know.
they both say river. Even the one that J.C. Engineering supplied says Agawam River on it.
At what point does Glen Charlie Pond become a river? At the time it goes underneath a culvert and starts to flow? What's the name of the river? Agawam.
Agawam River.
Oh, that's the one that comes out of the sewer plant
Yes.
Yeah.
And then turns into the Wareham River.
and turns into Wankiko, then Wareham.
But it's listed as a pond though, right?
I know, it depends on,
What you look for, right.
Or who you ask.
because I don't know whether or not, a river starts someplace, collects in a pond, and then continues. I mean,
It's still a river even though it has pools along the way, right?
But doesn't a river just flow constantly? It doesn't just,
well, the issue is that if it's a river, it's a 200-foot setback
understood? Yep,
versus the 100.
yep, I got you.
And if I take a look at, we'll wait, if Christine can give us a comment on this, because I'm looking at the 30-foot no-work zone.
Well, that wouldn't change.
No, but I'm trying to find the 30-foot no-work zone.
This is just my first question.
Yes,
okay.
I'm sure you, well, I'm sure Christine is looking it up. What's your second question?
My second question is, and I haven't been out to the site, but is it true, from what I've been hearing, that there is no building on the site?
Currently is the existing foundation.
An existing foundation, but no building on the site.
The
Pass that
building
down,
was taken
please.
down about a year ago, correct?
So, oh, yeah. Yes, right there on the river or pond. So would this fall under the category of new construction then?
I believe they're going through zoning as well, but I believe they're considering it rebuilding a damaged or destroyed structure within a certain time frame.
You understand the concern, right? Because we're not allowed to approve a new structure in a protected resource area.
Right. the existing foundation is still in place, so the footprint hasn't changed. You know, they'd be building up on what's existing there, so not disturbing any new area as far as, you know, a foundation would go.
It looks disturbed to me from the photograph.
But hold on, sir, are we proposing to expand the
Wait.
footprint?
I want one at a time. The answer is that this is, building department has said this is a construction on an existing footprint, as opposed to a new structure, because the foundation stayed. The only thing that isn't there now is the proposed deck expansion.
Right.
And the proposed covered porch.
And the
Well,
proposed-
that's outside of us, isn't it?
Not if it's 200 feet.
Well, I know, if it's 200 feet, yeah, but it's not up against the resource of 100.
I think
Anyway, okay, so wait a minute. The question is, Christine, do we have an issue?
So there is a mouth of river line much further south than where this is. More than 20,000 feet. Trying to see.
So that doesn't look like this, on what you're looking at, doesn't show this as part of the river. The river is defined later on in the pond. Is that a good way to put it?
It's further south, so let me.
Which way does the river flow at that point, north or south?
It goes north to south.
Okay, so if it says river to the south, then this is river, if that's the direction of flow.
So let me show you. Over here, this is where the mouth of river line starts. Where this property is, it's so hard to do this with the. This property
Is way up.
is way further up.
Is that the blue one and outlined in blue?
No, it's actually outlined in red, but I have so much stuff open on here that it can be a little bit difficult to find. Let me type it in. So this is where this property is. And that mouth of river is further south over here.
So it's river.
The river.
Oh, it's further south from where they are. Does the mouth of the river become the beginning or the end of the river?
This is just where it becomes a river.
It becomes a river south from where they are.
So this over here is open.
South or from the north?
So where this mouth of river line is, past that would be considered river. Here,
So the mouth of the river is the end of the river.
yes, right
The
here.
source is the beginning.
And then it,
So if it's
where it
somewhere in
comes out into
between,
open
Wait.
ocean.
it's on the river.
So it comes out into the open ocean past here, where this starts. This is where the river would consider to start.
That's the start of the river.
Yes, and then this is open ocean.
Okay, above that, is it a river? It is flowing because of the Agawam River, which is where the sewer,
We're going to get into semantics of what's a river, water that moves.
Yeah, that's something.
but the point is, if this is a 100-foot or 200-foot, it depends on whether or not, what does it change in this hearing?
There's just a little bit more work that would be in jurisdiction if it was 200 foot versus 100.
So if it's a 200-foot, then everything is within our jurisdiction. It's a 100-foot. What is excluded? The front porch?
I think that is
And I
included.
believe the
That's
driveway.
all, that's all included. 100
So-
feet puts you almost up by the front property
So
line.
then everything on this particular plan is within 100 feet and 200 foot. So Scott, the point, it just says we have an oversight of everything on the plan, whether it be 100 or 200.
It doesn't change the no activity zone.
No, it's still 30 foot.
Right, yeah. Well, that was my first question, whether it was germane or not.
Guess not, because it's all covered. It's all within 100 feet or 200 feet.
Is the treatment any different, whether it's a river or not? I mean, the treatment, like the analysis of what's allowed or what's not allowed.
With riverfront, if there's any work being done within 0 to 100 feet, that requires mitigation. If it's anything past 100 to 200, it doesn't require any.
So if the work is done and it requires mitigation, is that why we are having replacement trees and blueberry bushes?
Yeah, it would be, but since I would probably have to figure out if it stops becoming part of a river, if it's not considered riverfront at much higher elevations. I'm not 100% sure on that.
All right, someone else had a question there, I interrupted.
It was,
No, it was the whole footprint and the deck question.
The deck is not there now, but is staked. Was there a deck there before?
There was a deck there before,
In the dimensions we're seeing now in the plan?
without the expanded portion.
And the expanded portion is within the 30-foot no-work zone?
Part of it is, yes.
I'm certainly not going to ask you to take out a triangle.
Yeah, this small part right here.
What bothers me is that back in March of last year, somebody bulldozed absolutely everything that was living between the foundation and the riverfront on the west side and the north side. Absolutely bulldozed everything. I can see where the machinery was used to bulldoze everything, which was very disappointing. Of course, going now, it's something that was growed back, but not like it had been. It was very...
So we don't know who did it, whether it's the applicant, the current applicant, or the
I don't know.
prior?
I don't know who took the house down. It was,
It was conveyed in '22.
okay, so in '24, whoever it was, but he was not happy that I was taking pictures.
No, that's
I'm glad I had my husband with me.
That's your current owner.
All right. Yeah, it's a lot of paving stones all over the structure. Nice birch. All right. Any other questions before I ask the public? Anybody in the audience would like to speak on this project? Please come forward and identify yourself.
My name is Jim Guanata.
And spell your last name for us, please.
Arnotta.
Okay, and your comments, please.
So.
Hey, have a seat and then go into talk to the mic.
So I understand on the map it says river. My parents built a house there in '59. Ever since then, or before, it's been Glen Charlie Pond. Okay? They dammed it up as a water resource for the bogs.
Mm-hmm.
They dammed the river, made the pond. And I can tell you, you know, being down there 64 years, there's been many houses built, probably within, even closer than the 100-foot buffer or anything like that. And, you know, I didn't realize that used to be the judge's house. You know, that wasn't there when I was a kid. And, you know, now someone else bought it and, you know, I don't know about the demolition thing, but wants to make a betterment to that piece of property.
Mm-hmm.
And, if, you know, you could go on Google Maps, it's gonna say Glen Charlie Pond.
Are you the prior owner?
No, I'm here for a different reason for myself.
Okay. All right.
But I'm just saying, you know, if you look on Google Maps, it says Glen Charlie Pond, and maybe the people that made that map looked at an old map, I don't know. You know, so I just think that you know, as far as I've been down there, 64 years, probably longer than a lot of you people have been alive, it's been Glen Charlie Pond.
This is U.S. Geological Survey, National Map 2023.
Well, I don't know. Does it say Gulf of America now?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else? Christine, your comments.
How were you proposing to get rid of the railroad ties in the patio that's still remaining there?
That could all be removed by hand,
By hand.
small enough that could be taken out by hand.
Anything else?
No, I just wondered about that, since it's much closer to the water.
Right.
How are we going to define where the 30-foot no works area is, since these trees and blueberry bush is going to be planted within the 30-foot?
Is
The
it
old
30, is it 30 foot for a river too?
I believe so.
I think it's 50, right?
No, 30?
50 is for commercial projects.
That's commercial, okay.
30, 50.
Do you want to see the current one?
Yeah.
This was a challenge to get to, since he put a piece of ply score over the walkway.
Yes.
The
access
stairs,
is,
so,
very
okay.
challenging.
It was, I guess they don't want us to go down and look.
Are you saying that this is an existing foundation, that one that's there, that's not newly poured?
No, that's been existing, and we actually surveyed this property back in 2007 when we did work on the septic system there, so we have the location of everything prior to.
All right. I think we're talking about removing the patio stones and tires by hand. We're looking, what else? We're looking at, we want a, 2-for-1 tree replacement? I'm not going to go 3-to-1.
Okay.
It'll make it just too busy for that. I like to have a 2-for-1 replacement.
Of what, should we say what diameter saplings?
Well,
or
it's-
how does that,
What does it normally go? What, a 5-gallon bucket? Or 5 or 10?
10? 5's pretty small.
5 is the size of a white bucket or an orange bucket you buy at
Home Depot bucket.
Home Depot bucket. That's a 5.
Yeah.
So that tree is probably could be 3 to 4 years old.
Yeah.
So what would you like? I think a 2-to-1 and 5-gallon?
My preference is 10, but
And we have red pine, red maple being a proposed. What would you like the other trees to be composed of? Oh, I know. Weeping willow. No.
Native?
Huh?
Is it native?
Some are. No, I think weeping willow by a river is very nice, but that's me.
If they put red maple in there, they're going to have 1,000 or 10,000 to 1 replacement in a couple of years. Sorry.
All right, come on, I need some, what do you want for, we have 10-gallon bucket, 2-to-1 tree, we have red maple, what do you want the other trees to be? All red maple? I see white birch on there already. But a birch doesn't last too long.
Should this be the discretion of the property owner, as long as it's within the list of?
yeah.
As long, okay, then we'll put it 2-to-1 tree, 10 gallons, native trees.
Native trees.
That's fine.
Not invasives.
Yeah, and you can work with the conservation agent too.
Yes.
Okay.
Bounce
Make
that
sure
off
that they're
Christine.
compatible with the other vegetation in the area.
Perfect.
Thank
And
you.
I see a dry well. All right. Any other comments on this project? Fines. I'd like to have a fine for removing all the vegetation back in March. And, no, fine for demo,
The demo?
the
yeah.
demo. 300 each?
The demo you guys would likely have approved.
Then it's a 200.
200, yeah.
But we would not have approved the removal of all the vegetation between the house. So we're talking a $300 fine for, we would not have approved the vegetation, and a $200 fine for the demo we would have approved, so a total of a $500 fine. Anything else?
Are there any rare habitat species located on this property? Has that been assessed?
I think I included a map on that. I don't believe there is.
Thank you.
No, there's none.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. I think that's it.
I motion to close the hearing?
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 700. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendations, please.
Standard order of conditions with the railroad ties in the patio to be taken out by hand, 2-to-1 tree replacement with 10-gallon buckets of native trees, and a $300 fine for the vegetation removal with a $200 fine for the demo.
So moved?
That's the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, done.
Thank you.
That took a while. Next hearing, please.
On the request for notice of intent for James and Sheila Guarnata, 45 Wareham Lakeshore Drive, East Wareham, Massachusetts. Remove existing wooden landscape staircase, construct the proposed granite staircase with paver landings, and connect to existing paver walkway. Grade and construct retaining walls is proposed on the plan of record. Plant native shrubs and utilize a conservation seed mix in the mitigation area as shown on the plan of record. Map 120, Lot 93, 45 Wareham Lakeshore Drive, East Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open the hearing.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? The hearing is open, and who's in front? I swear to, right hand, please. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding 45 Wareham Lakeshore Drive.
Yes.
Thank you. Now you can come sit and identify yourselves.
So I just want to interject on this one. We do not have a DEP file number.
Okay?
Correct.
Thank you.
My name's Corey Bracken. I'm the environmental consultant from Sebacia Inc., representing the client, and I'm joined with Chris from Oasis, Chris Danello from Oasis, and the client, James Granada, who you spoke briefly to earlier. We are also a property on Glen Charlie Pond. Before getting into the details, my interpretation in other towns that I've done similar permitting in, the riverfront area ends at the end, at the mouth of the river where it enters the pond and resumes at its exit. A major river like the Agawam is going to have many ponds along its trip all the way out to the ocean. And just for consideration, if we were going to consider Glen Charlie a riverfront area, that is going to make the majority of ponds in Wareham also have the riverfront area applied to them, which is a considerable additional amount of work with the riverfront analysis that takes place on our end. So I would opine that we are not within the riverfront area for this project.
And historically, we have not considered work on the pond a river.
Correct. That would
Historically.
open quite a legal can of worms, likely.
Okay. Talk to us about the project.
Into the project. We're proposing a series of retaining walls with a granite staircase associated with it down to the edge of Glen Charlie. All of our work is outside of the 30-foot no-touch zone. If you're able to visit the site or take a look at any of the photos, presently there, it's pretty sparsely vegetated. It's on a slope. Not a whole lot of mature adult trees within the work area. What we're proposing is a series of 3 concrete block walls to tie into an existing granite paver walkway next to the single-family home. In terms of mitigation, as shown on the plan, we're removing 11 young to sapling trees. We're replanting approximately 31 native shrubs within the mitigation area between the walls. This is almost a 3-to-1 replication. I picked out a variety of species that I've seen that have done well in that area. red osier dogwood, sweet pepper bush, inkberry, kind of common mitigation plants. I also believe that as proposed, this project is an improvement over existing conditions. Over the course of time, these shrubs should naturalize, be a more robust environment than was previously there, and the series of retaining walls should help with stormwater filtration with all the shrubs, because right now everything just kind of is going down the hill. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to you gentlemen, or if we're ready for questions, we're ready for questions.
All right, we'll start the questions. Kwame?
No questions, thanks.
Joe?
Excuse me for being a little dull here. Have we in the past approved pavers within the 100-foot? Or is that
Yes.
just strictly within the 30-foot?
Is no work within the 30-foot, but we have approved pavers
I have no questions.
and stairs, and yes. Okay. Michael?
No questions, ma'am, thank you.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
Aesthetically, it's going to be nicer, and the stone stairway will look good. I was there and took a look. The only concern I had really is that I'm just picturing if water were gushing downhill, the old stairs that you want to get rid of have sand so that that is pervious, and the new one is going to be all stone, so I'm picturing it like a reverse fish run or something, the water pouring down, and, you know, there's not much to stop the flow of water as it is, especially with all those small shrubby things and saplings that are going to be removed. I'm thinking of erosion. You don't want to end up with your house in the drink.
Well, I do think, to respond, the idea with picking the shrubs that we picked was, A, we didn't want to go and plant a tree species because they'll eventually become a vista pruning issue. We wanted it to be something consistent with what's on either side of the property. And the idea is also, by using everything in stone, the need to have to make fixes or anything in the future is definitely not as likely if we used a different material like wood. So in my thought process, with the mitigation the way that it is, I'm hoping that this just really promotes a greater naturalization over the time, because the worst thing you'd want is 30 years from now, after things have been growing in and naturalizing, to have something fall out of place or have to come back in and fix things. So using the permanent option with the pavers, I do understand there might be a little bit of water kind of taking that route, but I think it should hopefully be compensated by the shrubs and the extra stuff.
I like the way you think. I like the inkberry and the sweet pepper bush and all of that very much. I'm just thinking of the pond at the bottom, river pond, having all that water flowing into it, more water flowing into it because the stairs.
Yeah, how do you
Or a
handle?
red carpet.
Yeah, to me, the water going down a paver, how are you going to mitigate that force going down the hill, hitting whatever sand is left along the pond?
Well, the good thing is that if you've visited the site.
Is that your point?
Yeah, I'm picturing, you know, when it gets down to the sand, to the beach, the edge of the pond, then you're just going to have a big
I'm sorry, I
erosion.
interrupted you.
No, it's okay. So if you've been out to the site where the existing steps end now, that's the extent of where these steps will go today. So at least that way there is a good bit of sand between that and the pond itself. We're still over 30 feet away from the water's edge at that point.
So you don't think you'll be back in front of us asking for beach nourishment because all the sand's going to get just washed out by the fire hose of the water coming down the stone stairs? No?
I hope not, but if we are, I'll be biting myself and I'll be back in front of you.
I think if
See you
you've
then.
seen the site as it is now,
Yeah.
nothing is stopping that sand. Like, there's way more sand coming down that hill now versus once there's a set of walls and plantings. So you're talking about the whole hill is kind of sandy, headed towards a pond, and now it's just going to be, if your concern is, okay, you have a solid surface, I think that's minimal compared to what's just kind of eroding out. And if we were to do anything in wood, I will be back there in 15, 20 years, assuming I'm still alive, to fix that, because it'll just rot out.
Security.
So that's kind of this is said, it's done, and I go too with all the plantings on the, not just in the terraces, but coming up the sides is to really help solidify
I'm just
and
thinking of
hold
it on the stone going down, the stairway,
What if we did like a crushed stone, just like a little,
something to.
I mean,
to
I can
slow
make
it
the
down at
landings,
bottom,
I can make the landings permeable
That would be fantastic.
if you wanted, and then,
That would be a big
I
improvement.
mean, obviously, the granite steps are not ever gonna be permeable, but, you know, there's
There's two,
landings in
Yeah.
there
That would help.
and have the water, so that's,
A little bit less water shooting down.
sure,
Sure.
really the only
Okay.
water it won't collect is the last 7, I think it's like 7 7 steps and then a landing, so that
Yeah.
last will be it.
Yeah,
But,
slow it down a bit.
yeah, we can do that,
okay.
easy enough.
Scott?
I was just going to ask if the pavers were going to be dry laid or not, and so that's the answer to my question, too.
Jessica?
No questions.
Where's the erosion control barrier? Did I miss it?
shown, at the,
Oh, is that the black one at the bottom?
the hatch mark,
Oh.
that's the, right
There it
now.
is, all the way at top of the hill. Then I follow it all the way down, then I go across. Okay, thank
All the
you.
way down. Mhm.
I know, they need to make these bigger, or my glasses need to be stronger. All right, is there anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this project? Christine, your comments, please.
My comments were the same as Paula Jean's with the runoff on the stone and whether that was going to be causing any sort of fragment, like erosion to the beach that's down below there. But you guys have answered those questions.
So we're making the landings permeable. I got it right that time? Okay, nobody? Unless there's other questions,
So this doesn't have the DEP file number yet?
it means we have to continue.
Yes.
Do we have an estimate of how long that usually takes?
It's usually not too long of a process. I'm sure that this meeting will end and a couple of days from now we'll get the number.
They'll come in tomorrow morning likely.
I mean, so it's possible if we're only coming back for DEP and there's no comments on it, do you need all three of you? I mean, that's your choice, but if there's comments on the DEP that we'd like to speak to, then we'd like to speak to
Mhm.
everybody. So, I'll take a motion,
You think May 7th?
May 7th.
All right, I motion to continue until May 7th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we're continued on May 7th, waiting for DEP.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Robert W. Doucette, 47 Cleveland Way, Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts. The applicant is proposing to raise an existing 12-foot by 18-foot detached garage, construct a 15-foot by 17-foot addition to the existing dwelling, add a second floor, and modify the front of the dwelling to create a covered porch. The rear deck, with patio below, will also be expanded. The existing driveway will be reconstructed at the end of the project. Map 7B-2, Lot 10, 47 Cleveland Way, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
I oppose, abstain, the hearing is open, and please identify yourself, representing the,
Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
I swear to tell the truth, and nothing but the truth at 47 Cleveland Way project.
I
Thank
do.
you.
Yes.
All right, talk to us. Anything more than already has been said?
Really, no, not much. Raising the existing garage, adding an addition to the existing dwelling. The rear deck will be extended to match the addition. The driveway will be reconstructed in the future, calling out for a gravel driveway. Fairly straightforward. We are showing erosion control, straw wattle to be placed behind the existing garage, which is just at the 30-foot no-activity zone. There's very little grade change occurring. There'll obviously be disturbance to construct the foundation, but the grade change will be minimal as far as grades that are there now and what will exist after construction. So the back of the home will be a walkout, so we're not filling it. Increasing the slope is my point.
Thank you. Questions? Kwame?
Dry wells, I can't see those things on there.
No, we haven't shown any. I went out to the site and that thought crossed my mind, but we're not really increasing the impervious area. I didn't see any signs of erosion or rivulets from any of the downspouts, so I didn't indicate any on the plan.
Thank you.
Joe?
I believe in the past, we have moved fire pits out of that 30-foot zone. I see there's an existing fire pit there currently. It's listed on the plan.
Yeah, I don't know how long's that's been there.
Gotcha. I would like to see that moved out of the 30-foot closer to the house. Yeah, it's not that you're not allowed to have it, it's just it's within that 30-foot. No questions other than that, though. Thank you.
Michael?
No questions, ma'am, thank you.
Autumn?
Thank you for the side-by-side map.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
very
that was-
helpful.
that was neat.
Yeah, that's nice. No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
So I'm happy that you said gravel driveway. I was, somehow I thought paved was gonna come up, and that makes so much more sense, because boy, after that lawn, it's a straight cliff down. So, I did have one other, just a comment or a question. So there were little labels on the lawn that they have the chemical company come in, True Green. And I know we try to encourage people not to use extra nitrogen and fertilizers that are gonna only go into the water and help pollute Buttermilk Bay there. And I didn't have a chance to go on the internet and do any research on what kind of chemicals are being applied there, but that's right there, right before the cliff to the water. And that was I found that really concerning.
Well, all I know is most of the landscape companies I know are well aware of that, particularly in this area, and they try to use the slow nitrogen. I don't know what this particular company or these individuals, their practices, but any landscaper worth his money around here is well aware of that.
Well, I'm sure they're aware of it, but I know that might not be the
Yeah, I can't
number
speak.
one motivation.
Right, I can't speak to what they're
And maybe the homeowner
using.
is not aware of what they're doing. It's just like, oh, lawn, make it green. So I don't know that it really comes under this project, but that was something that I
Well,
found
our
was
standard order of conditions insists that we do a low-released nitrogen, so that isn't our standard.
so
And if
we'll
it's
have
find that it's not done, then they're not adhering to our standard orders.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, great.
Scott?
Thank
No
you.
questions, thank you.
Jessica?
No questions.
Anybody on audience or online that would like to comment on this project? Okay, before you let them in, Christine, your comments.
So this one also does not have a DEP file number.
Thank you.
And the fire pit, looking back, it goes back to 2016. So it's been there since then, at least.
Still within the 30-foot.
Yeah, but we didn't have 30-foot at that time.
Yeah.
So the fire pit stays, because it was installed before we had our 30-foot no activity.
Well, you said it was, I didn't make it out to the site. Speaking to the mic here, remember that. The current fire pit it's just cinder blocks, or is it stone?
I really didn't pay much attention to it. I don't know how long it was there. I know we did a filing in 2016, and we show it then, but how long it existed prior to that, I don't know.
And does anyone live in this house now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a Jeep there when I was there, but no one came to the door.
Well, because if it's just a bunch of stones, a fire pit that hasn't been used would be then considered debris?
No, they could very well have not used it during the winter. Who knows what the summer activity might be, but,
I just feel too hot about, having people jump
I
around the
know,
30-foot.
but we can't enforce something that did not exist at the time it was installed. We cannot retroactively ask them to remove something that was done without a restriction. Okay,
Grandfather, it's a hell of a thing, huh?
you got it? That's amazing. Somebody online?
Yes, hello.
Please identify yourself.
Yes, my name is Michael Maroon. I'm in a butter.
Okay.
And is my camera not on?
We see a face.
Okay, I don't see how to turn on my camera, but
Well, that's all
is
right.
it required?
We can hear you. That's important.
Okay, thank you. So my only concern is about the consumption of cubic feet of airspace. I don't know the height that will be attained and how different it will be from the current structure. But I do know that birds and insects need airspace and that is critical to a resource.
Okay, then I think your comments probably belong into planning or zoning because we have no say over the height of the structure. We can only talk about what's happening on the ground.
No problem. Thank you so much for hearing me this
Thank you very much for your comments. Christine, your recommendations.
We can't issue anything without a DEP file number.
Yep, so then I think we'll look for a,
Continuance.
oh, you have green cards.
We uploaded them online.
Oh,
Yeah. So she
I
already
guess
has
I'm so
them.
used to paper.
Yeah,
So we'll take a request to continue until 5/7. So moved. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. 5/7.
Yeah, we've been tracking the certified mail on the check going to the lockbox, and it's been saying in transit for over a week now. So probably get the number tomorrow.
Okay. Next, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the request for notice of intent for Russell Moto, P.O. Box 154, Mattapoisett, Massachusetts 02814, tear down and rebuild of a single-family dwelling, map 78/3, lot 194 and 195, 48 Barlow Ave, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Please identify yourself.
Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding 48 Barlow Ave.
I do.
Thank you, thank you. All right, talk to us about, boy, it took some looking to find that one in there.
We did stake it out.
Yes, you
I'm hoping
did.
you found the property, first of all. Get through it is another matter, but
I never could get to the house, I couldn't find a way. But that was all right, I could see it through the weeds. And, okay,
all right, so again, Brad Bertolo with JC Engineering for the record, on behalf of Russell Motto. There's currently existing single-family dwelling on the property. The site itself is a double lot, contains 10,000 feet, 700 square feet of land, and a small bordering vegetated wetland encroaches, or a small portion of the property, about a quarter of it, encroaches on the eastern side of the property. As you can see, I have delineated both the 15-foot and the 30-foot wetland offsets, as well as the 100, which is well off the property. So the entire property is within 100 foot in your jurisdiction. It's also in land subject to coastal storm flowage, AE elevation 16. It's in a flood zone. Elevations around the house are approximately 9 and 10. So we're proposing to tear down the existing house and,
sorry.
yeah, it's due.
I'm surprised it's standing.
Yeah, and obviously the existing shed, and reconstruct a single-family dwelling. Due to it being in a flood zone, it's going to have to meet building code and FEMA requirements, so the first floor will be situated about 1 story above grade. It'll be about a half a story in the front with the proposed addition of about a couple feet of fill in the front. It will have a walkout in the back. The grades on the property, as I said, range between 10 around the house and 7 or so at the work limit. The site is obviously hasn't been touched in a while, so there is a number of, saplings, overgrowth. There's actually a number of invasive species in accordance, or as stated by Brad Holmes, who had done the wetland delineation with ECR. So it appears originally they had a larger backyard and may have extended out closer to the wetland line. As part of this project, we're proposing to maintain at least a 15-foot buffer just behind the house, and around the side will range between 15 and 30 with the way the setback is, just to provide some space around the house. All the work in regards to the structure itself is outside of the 30-foot. The existing house is set back approximately the same distance as the proposed house, right around 31 feet. The footprint of the house is 26 by 26. I did the math. It's maybe 42 square feet larger than the existing house, but considering the shed that's being removed, total roof areas will be less. And with the new roof area, we are proposing roof dry wells on the north and south side of the dwelling to capture runoff. So I think even with removing some of the invasive species and trees around the work limit, the addition of dry wells will be an improvement to the project, to the site. The house will have a small driveway coming off the gravel road. We are proposing a crushed stone or some type of impervious driveway, not pavement. The site is currently, I don't believe it's tied into town sewer yet, but was subject to the sewer betterment and water betterment back in, I think, early 2000s, early to mid 2000s. When it was assessed to this neighborhood.
So it has a stub?
It actually has two stubs. Well,
'Cause it's
one's
a double
kind
lot.
of like just off the property in front of Nelson Street, which is currently not constructed in that area. There are minor grade changes, about 2 foot, from 0 to 2 foot. So it's not a lot of fill that's going to be necessary. On the site, and the house itself will be floodplain compliant. The lowest level will have flood vents to meet the building code. We do depict 3 trees that we're looking to remove, one being on the north side of this existing and proposed structure by the property line, and 2 that are around the driveway. Those are to be removed completely, stump removed and everything. There are 2 trees between the wetland line and the 15-foot wetland offset. One is currently dead, and it should have been flagged up. And the second one is part of a triple, I believe it's an oak tree, and one of them is considerably leaning towards the existing house. So we're proposing just to kind of flush cut that tree, leave the stump. The rest of the tree appears to be in decent shape. But that is the only work that's anticipated within the 15-foot no-touch buffer. Again, this predates, the site itself predates your 30-foot no-touch, but we're trying to work with it. Just trying to maintain a 30-foot on this is just almost impossible with the house situated 31.7 feet from the wetland line. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, we'll start. Kwame.
No questions, thank you, Brad.
Joe.
No questions for me, thank you.
Michael.
No questions, thank you.
Autumn.
Is there no chance that you could move that dry well a little bit outside of the 30-foot offset?
The one on the south.
Yeah.
I probably could. I could slide the water up closer to the house and come in tighter, just trying to maintain separation off the sewer line.
Right, and it would
Yeah.
still be effective.
Yeah, so it's something we can do. It's all below grade, obviously, so it's not a structure that you see that causes any type of impervious runoff. So, but yeah, I could probably slide that outside the 30-foot.
Yeah, thank you.
Paula Jean.
I'm just looking at the trees, like the big oak that you said that's leaning toward the, I was out at the site, but I'm forgetting every individual tree. I mean, the trees grow toward where there's daylight. Any chance of some replacement trees for the trees that are taken out?
I mean, within the work limits, kind of tight to provide any trees. I mean, if the commission is willing to allow work between the wetland line and the 15-foot, then maybe that's something that could be entertained, but it's really not a lot of space around this lot. We only have, I think, 5,000 square feet total that I can work in with all this.
Right, I
That's-
understand that. It's just, every day more trees are gone here and there, and it's cumulative. If there was a way that either something small, we were talking earlier about inkberry and sweet pepper bush and things like that, they don't grow, what do they grow, 10 feet maybe tall, and they don't take up a huge amount of space, but they still provide a lot of benefits to habitat and aesthetics as well, wildlife.
I mean,
A few of those fit in there?
if the commission is compelled to require that, then I would request that be mitigation take place within areas that would need it beyond the work limit, like in that, I guess, probably the former yard area that was originally here between, because I provided an aerial map, I think it was from
Yeah.
2008. It's hard to see what exactly, but looking at it, it looked like they had a lot larger yard space than what we're providing here, so.
I'm thinking like the space that the leaning oak takes, the triple oak, once that's gone, well, there's a little home for
Then, yeah,
something.
if that's, I think a handful of native shrubbery or something like that
Yeah.
would be
I'd
suitable
like to
in
see
that, in that location, as long as it's, not impeding on the proposed, space around the yard.
There's always some reason things are not convenient, but it's just bit by bit we're denuding the town. So thank you.
Yeah, I would be agreeable to some form of restoration within
Yeah,
that
good.
space.
Okay. Scott,
No questions.
Jessica?
No questions.
I do. I heard that right now the 30-foot is up against the edge of the house, and you're indicating here that you would like to have the backyard restored between the 30 and 15-foot.
Correct,
Right.
just,
That whole, if I take a look at the swap between the 30 and the 15-foot, you're not the whole area, or just the area behind the house?
I think it's the area behind the house and about the same distance, just to the south of the house. It's about the same setback.
Where you're going to have the dry well before you move it?
Yeah, well, we'll kind of slide the drive well forward, but it,
Okay. Now, I'm taking a look at this property. You're going to have to clean just about everything out of there to get in there and work.
well, we're anticipating of taking the vegetation up to the hay bale line.
Yes, so, and the hay bale line is, most of it is between the 15 and 30-foot, right? It comes along the 30-foot, then it comes up to the 15-foot for your hay bale, straw bale.
Yeah, so it maintains the 30 feet out in front of just beside the driveway, and then by the time you get to the house, it's leaving maybe 25 feet at most, and then it goes to...
Sorry. Everything between Barlow Ave and this hay bale, you're going to remove all the vegetation including 3 big trees, because everything is invasive in this, they're not?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much all invasive
So
species.
you're going to clear the land in that area?
I am going to restore and yeah.
You have to clear it.
Of course.
In order to build it.
Yes.
Then you get rid of all the invasives, get rid of the 3 big trees. Then you're looking at how are you going to restore that disturbed land. what did it say? You're putting in, you want to have a former backyard anywhere between the 15 and 30 footer. So you're going to be putting down grass?
Some type of grass material that probably be mowed and used as access around the structure.
There, at that point, you could very well find yourself putting in some inkberry and blueberry and, yeah, smaller. I'm thinking about, we could very well enhance the back of the house and the side of the house with low shrubs, because you're going to really strip. That land will be cleared of everything inside of that hay bale, correct?
Yes, including a bunch of invasive species.
Including 30-foot, no work zone. It is
For a very small portion of
Yeah.
the proposed project. Nothing,
from the edge of the house to the hay bale will be gone, and that's all within 30 feet.
yes, a portion of it, yes, not all of it, but a portion of it.
But you got to get to the shed, and you got to get to the house to get rid of it, got to have space to build the house. All right,
That's
then you're asking if we would give you a waiver to allow the backyard to exist between the 30 and the 15-foot wetland area. There, right?
Yes, it's either a waiver or there is an exemption in the bylaw that talks about pre-existing sites, where
Well, you have proof that this was a lawn at one time, and you're looking to restore part of that lawn to the back of the house.
Correct, yes. We are still, we're providing a split rail fence too, along the erosion control line so that it can clearly delineate where no activities can take place beyond that fence line.
All right. So somewhere in that, between the road and the hay erosion control, you can do some plantings for us.
Well, like I said, we have no issues with,
I mean, I wouldn't mind having along that split rail fence, put my line of inkberry and blueberry.
so,
Yeah, instead of lawn, right?
Well, it won't be, it just
like a small,
little
like mulched strip.
mulched area,
along
maybe a
the-
couple
along the
feet
fence.
wide, for the planting of these things, so you don't have grass in it, so you don't have to worry about where to mow, like up against your split rail fence.
Yes, so those are smaller shrubberies, so that might be amenable to
Okay.
add.
Christine, do we have the DEP?
Yes, this one does have a DEP number.
And do you have any comments on this project?
How far back was it that this had a lawn?
I don't know, I just looked at the aerial photograph from, I think it was 2008, and after that, it kind of was filling in with vegetation, but,
It says 2008 aerial imagery from Mass GIS, and that's what you provided us.
yeah, it's, you could see that there was a decent size area of clearing well beyond, even where we're proposing the erosion control.
For me, I don't speak for the whole commission, but that's almost 17 years ago. And we don't have any data indicating the.
No, that's what I'm
soil
just saying,
status.
it was clearly evident in 2008 that it was cleared, so it was definitely used as property back
Let's just say
then.
the house was being used.
Yeah,
That house was,
Right, and I don't have the wetland status from 2008 in front of me right now either.
yeah, I mean, it was wetlands there on the sewer plan, they showed the same wetlands, and that was done prior to the design, early 2000s, so.
okay. Christine, your comments?
The wetland is very close to that. I was just out there not that long ago. But I think that having native plantings along the split rail is not a bad idea.
All right, and that we would allow some clearing between the 30 and 15-foot section to allow for the backyard that at one time existed.
I'm not sure if I'm aligning that way, just because it was so long ago and we don't have data from that.
But it had, I mean, it filled in. I mean, I can't very well, we have one house in which we put that 30-foot no-work zone no more than 6 inches from the corner of their house. That gives them, they can't even walk around their
Yeah,
house.
exactly. That's the reason why,
Be some accommodation.
yeah.
Is this house currently inhabited?
Yeah.
Well, so, but did it have a resident, was there a resident? at the
four-legged
time
friends
that
are
our
out there.
30-foot no activity was put in place?
I honestly can't see how anybody lived in this house within the last 20 years.
Brad, can the house be pushed up towards the road at all more?
Well, I kind of right at the zoning setback requirement of 20 and a half feet with the front stoop.
What's the setback of?
20 feet minimum, so I only have 6 inches of play, so.
If it's spun more and that, you know what I mean, like if it's spun a little bit and then pushed all the way up to the 20 feet, how far off of that 30-foot setback could we get? The 30-foot no touch, I mean.
I mean,
Like you're at an angle here?
yeah,
The front corner is at that.
you may get a few feet, a handful of feet, but still would require, still be looking for some work within the 30-foot, just to maintain some access around the structure.
And the land between Barlow and what you're showing as the lot line here, is that just part of the street layout?
There's actually a triangle that's part of the neighbor's property that we're not going to propose any work in. It's
Where's that?
So the overhead wires right now from the pole out in the street, U-pole number 14, they travel to the house over a triangular-shaped piece of property that's actually part of the neighbor's lot. We had actually staked out that lot corner where the road layout met, and there's actually on plan, it's a little orange dot, there's a little orange fence post out there existing. It's all overgrown right now.
Anything else?
So you would put the split rail fence only where it's marked on the plans, and you only want yard to that split rail fence closest to the house? Or is
Along with the native planting along the split wheel.
Yeah, so the split rail fence goes completely from one side of the property to the other side of the property, across, pretty much following almost the entire hay bale line.
So it's just that portion of the 30-foot no activity zone that's closest to the house?
It's just the area, right, pretty much, from the rear facade of the house to the erosion control line. It goes from 15 feet down to maybe 5 feet behind the shed. So it's only a 5-foot encroachment by the shed, increases to 15 feet at the most southeastern corner of the house, and then increases back out to 30 before you even get to the front facade of the house. So it's just it's got to be maybe 500 square feet, 600 square feet roughly.
And you're willing to do the native plantings on the other side of the fence that is not to be
On the house
used?
side, on the house side of the fence.
I would, yeah, a strip along the fence is acceptable, and a handful within, so wetland side of the fence around where that tree is bent and cut, some sweet pepper bush or something.
But what we have between the 15-foot and the wetland line stays, other than the two trees to be removed and
Yeah,
stumped.
it
Everything
is-
else stays.
Yeah.
That
Unless you want us to
horrible
remove invasive species, I'm sorry to cut you
We'll
off.
let the homeowner deal with that. but
Yeah.
I mean, if we are going to allow some use/work in the 30-foot no activity zone, I think it could be an option for us to recommend the removal of invasive species.
What, inside the wetland to 15 foot? Everything inside the fence will be gone.
Yeah, we'll take out anything that's in the, obviously,
Everything
limit
will be
side.
gone inside the erosion control barriers. Yeah.
But these trees are staying.
Which trees?
These green
The
trees.
green ones are staying, and
Yeah.
the red ones are coming out.
yeah.
A dead tree and a leading tree will be cut flush, but the other trees will be stumped, right?
The
three-
the trees that in the front that would be taken down, yes.
Stump will come out,
Yes.
but the others will be clear cut.
The other ones will cut at the base, yes.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Anybody online, if they're still there? Anybody in the audience, they're still here? You have some comments, please. Please come forward and identify yourself. You've been so patient. It's been 2 hours and you're still here.
My name's Maureen Gannon. I'm 46 Barlow.
Have
It's
a
a lovely
seat.
place. I'm happy they're going to do something with it.
And identify yourself, please, one more time.
Maureen Gannon.
Thank you.
Gannon.
Thank you. And your comments, please.
I picked this up earlier in the meeting. What sort of things can you recommend for when they pull the existing structure? I'm pretty certain there's some large animals living in there. And also some small ones for sure.
Has the Board of Health said anything about trapping or getting rid of the trees like they did at Waterwiz for demo?
No, but if that's a process that the builder would be required to do, then
With the Board of Health?
yeah, I'm pretty sure any activity is going to
Yes,
make
they'll,
the critters scatter.
I'm sure.
Okay, I was listening. I have no idea where the fence is that you're talking about, because I can't tell left from right and up and down. But
Here's,
if it
take a look at the
helps, you
plan.
I probably can't see it because I forgot my glasses.
I
I'm
can show you
46.
mine.
I can, I'm amenable to having some of the smaller shrubs they were discussing put along the property line where the fence currently is. That fence is useless anyway, and you're taking the big tree down.
Well, we're doing nothing along the existing fence. We're doing everything along the fence that will be placed. Brad, will you show her with her finger where you're going to be putting a fence, if you can sort of say, I know what it's like not to have reading glasses.
So just to get the direction, 46 is to the left if you're facing this house?
Yeah.
All right, so you're here.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
a
this is it.
stockade fence now between
Yes, I
this
do.
property.
But it's-
So there's no plans to do anything
Okay,
with
well,
that fence, but
This one?
this would be a new split rail fence.
Okay.
And then plantings,
I was just suggesting that in case it would help with your concerns about.
Well, maybe the new owners will bite day to put something there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's where one of the big trees is.
Oh, that big tree is coming down along the fence.
Slightly concerned, I don't know, but it looks like you're going for a slightly increased footprint. Is there a deck on that map somewhere that wasn't there before? Like an outside patio area?
there's a deck getting proposed, yep.
I don't know. I just have the same concerns everybody else does, which is it's very close to the wetlands, and I would like to see them preserved. I definitely want to see a property going up, but I don't want it to take everything over, which I guess is your concerns too, right? So I wanted to come here and see.
Oh, thank
I
you.
haven't seen the map, that's all. Okay. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you
Wish you
very much
joy.
for...
I don't know how long this is going to take, which is also not your concern.
But it would be nice to see that area cleared of what's in there now.
Yes, it would, for sure, but it's very small. And obviously,
Everything down there is pretty
biggest
small.
thing they can put up within that area, which is, understandable.
Because it will be raised, how far up off the ground?
First floor is at, I was looking at it earlier today, it's going to be probably closer to 17.6.
So it's going up
about
17, then the house is going up.
So it's going to be a much taller structure then?
Well, yeah, you have a first floor is nothing more but pylons in order for the water to flow through.
Not pylons, but flood vents.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I guess this body doesn't decide that, but what is the total height going to be? Because you're proposing 2 stories, right?
Yeah, it'll be within the zoning requirements. In this case, it's 30,
whatever.
35 feet is the max height to the,
Oh,
to
with
the
the
mix.
roof as well?
Yeah, to the peak of the roof is 35.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much for hanging in there.
Yeah.
So Brad, that proposed deck, is that in the air? Oh, sorry, is that in the air or is that on the ground?
It's on the first floor, so that's going to be, yeah, it's 1 story up.
Then the stairs, landing, and then stairs.
Yeah, so I didn't have enough space to just send a straight stairway down. I didn't want to get it into the wetlands, so I have small steps down, like 3 or 4 steps. 4 steps to a landing, it turns, and then goes down the rest of the, kind of like, you know, it's your typical stairway from a deck that's 1 story up. You know, it's a walkout house, so we don't have to change any grades in the backyard. We really don't have any room to do that, so.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
I just have one little thing. So for the, this is a small detail, Brad, I'm sorry, but the posts for the split rail fence, are those treated in any way?
I believe they're just like a pressure-treated post. I think it's what you get nowadays.
All right.
They're not, the pressure-treated today is not the same as it was in the.
Oh, I know, yeah, there's no arsenic in
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but we have been requiring
green heart.
lumber that's going into an area that's in a sensitive area to be green heart rather than PT.
Yeah, I don't even know if they make that. I'm not familiar. It's just typical split rail fence. Same.
We've only done that with piers.
Well, but anything, I mean, the idea is that anything that's going into the ground in a sensitive area, and this is all within the no activity zone, certainly within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Mhm. Well, we need something that lasts too, so.
You know, like cypress, for example, green heart would last.
All right.
And
Anything else? I'll take, any other comments?
Did we get Christine's look?
Yeah, she said she was good with a natural planting along the split rail fence. Right?
I remember now, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, if there is a non-leaching wood that can be used for the
Then we'll
split
put
rail.
non-leaching wood.
That's important.
Okay, I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. We're closed. Your recommendation, standard order of conditions plus.
Plus the native plantings along that split rail fence, which is to be made with non-leaching wood.
And, all right.
And shifting the dry well outside
Oh, do we have to anymore?
Dry well
Okay,
outside.
shift the dry well.
Yep, outside of the 30-foot no activity, please. So moved?
That's the motion, and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain? Done. Thank you.
thank you. It's not an easy one, I understand.
Okay.
No, we appreciate it.
Did anybody come for the, we had a table for, who did we table? We tabled,
Tabled,
Brad, a question
24
off
Parker.
topic. Are we allowed, can we do that off?
can you wait 1 second? Is there anybody here for 24 Parker Drive? I do have one. Okay, wait. Your question?
It's off topic, just on that, can we ask him the question about his opinion about the river flowing through the pond?
We've done a number of projects on Glen Charlie Pond, and it's never been treated as that. Same, it goes through Agawam Mill Pond, too. That's never been treated as a riverfront. And we've had experience when Mr. Pichette was the agent in the projects in West Wareham, like adjacent to the 815 Main Street 40B project. Very similar, river. It stopped flowing through that small pond and then picked back up when it went back under Paper Mill Road. So yeah, riverfront stops in those situations.
Do you have any, anything you could refer us to, just so we can educate ourselves, statutory authority or?
I think it's more, at that time, I think it's more of they have to inspect the pond and try to see if there's
Is it about flow?
Concentrated flow, flowing, but in Glen Charlie Pond, it's Dan Pond, so it obviously has flow. It's flow in, flow out, but it dissipates when it gets to the pond.
Okay.
We put some of those little rubber ducks up way up in the top and watch, and they'd end up at the other end, then you might call
All
it a
right.
river.
Thank you. There's somebody online?
I motion to untable the.
I have a,
That's okay.
finish.
I motion to untable the project for 24 Parker Drive,
Second.
RDA 84.
I have a motion and a second to untable.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstains, we've untabled 24 Parker Drive. Who do we have?
Oh, he's not Parker Drive. No. That's for 13 Swift Beach.
Is that for the next one?
Hello.
Seems the individuals raise their hand for the next one, not the table one.
Not this, okay. Well, we untabled it, so,
I think we had to anyways.
we
so
had
that
to
we could
anyway, so
continue.
you want to continue until
Yeah.
7?
Yep, I motion to continue until May 7th.
Second?
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Then we have our continued hearings. We have 13 Swiss Beach Road.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
All right. This was not staked. Has it been staked?
I went out
Okay,
early
oh,
in the
sorry.
process.
Who's online to represent this project?
My name's Steve Webby. I'm the owner.
You did not appear before us in the last meeting, did you?
No, I couldn't find the Zoom link, but
Okay.
I figured it out.
Steve, I'm going to
Sorry.
ask you to raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding 13 Swiss Beach Road.
I do.
Okay, talk to us about the project, please.
So we're proposing to build a ADU behind the existing house that's already there. We are outside of the 100-foot wetlands buffer, but it came to our attention that there is a, I forget, some sort of river. I
Brook,
forget
stream.
Perennial
what
stream.
Christine called it.
A brook and stream.
Brook and stream. Our structure is in between the 100-foot and the 200-foot buffer. It's approximately 141 feet away from the wetlands.
Last time I was out there, the structure was not staked. Is it staked there now so we can see where you want to put it?
No, it's not staked right now.
So talk to us about what you want to put there.
It's per February 6th, the state now allows you to build the ADUs under 900 square feet. So it would just be a accessory dwelling unit that we would use as a rental.
We have it as an RDA. Should it be a notice of intent? No? Because I don't see any, I don't see a water line going to it, I don't see a power line going to it, I only see a proposed sewer hookup to the existing one. And a proposed driveway.
I thought the plan should have a water line unless maybe I made a mistake and uploaded the wrong one, but it should have the water line and the sewer as well as the driveway.
I guess it depends on which one I'm looking at. One is too tiny for me to read. All right,
Can I have a clarification, please?
okay.
So if this falls within the 200-foot buffer zone from a riverfront, why would it not require a notice of intent? Why would it fall in an RDA?
Let me double check. I don't think that it was that big. I think that was the,
So it will be a new structure within 200 foot of a waterway.
okay. So we can condition it to have a notice of intent.
Would it be continuing anyways because it wasn't staked?
Could very well do that, because it was, I would prefer to see a notice of intent with a lot more engineering information on it. That's my opinion. Anybody else? I mean, it's not staked, so I have no idea where I'm gonna put this next to the big pile of logs that are back there.
I mean, because it's not staked, should we even proceed discussing it?
Well, if we determine that it is applicable,
Yeah.
it would get a positive determination, and then it would move to a notice of intent before any work could be done, and
Yes.
then they could put in more engineering and stake it.
Yeah,
Are we
So-
going to open this to board comments? Because they do have,
yeah, I will in a minute, when I understand where we're gonna go with this. So, okay, it's not staked, but that's okay. Kwame, anything?
I would like to see it staked, actually, because my bearings,
Yeah, Steve would like to know where you're gonna put it back there.
unfortunately, yes.
Okay, anything else? Joe?
so yeah, I would like to see it continued. It's common practice of this board to stake the project, what are we, a week and a half before we even see the project on the agenda?
We
See
usually
it that
have
night?
to be staked by the time the ads go to the paper. Yeah.
Okay. And then my other thing is the ADU. At town meeting, we put a pause for further study on this.
Oh, guess what?
How are we reviewing an ADU?
Moratorium we put on at town meeting was never approved by the Attorney General.
Yes, Attorney
therefore
General
is
said it was
not in,
not so lawful to,
not in effect, so they could do an ADU because we couldn't put a moratorium on them.
so then my next question is until the town says we can have ADUs, how can we even,
Because the state says we can. Because the town put a moratorium that never got approved by Attorney General. They put on the attempt to put bylaws to control the ADU to further study, which means that was useless. We had no strength in our own town to stop it, so it's what the state allows is what right now we have as our laws regarding it.
but either way, if the state said one thing and the town is another, wouldn't we just have to wait for the next town meeting, end of this month
No,
for?
he put his plan in before the town meeting existed.
Well, I do know there's been other ADUs permits submitted as well.
Whatever has been submitted as an ADU will fall under the state guidelines and the state laws. Our town is, because we delayed the bylaws, we have no say in this, we have no stay in the game. We messed ourselves up.
Except where it falls under the Conservation Commission's purview.
I think there's something, I'd have to look hard at the state as to whether or not we have a lot of say in it.
For conservation, we don't have anything in our bylaws about ADUs, and it's not really something that we deal with the regulations for.
So it's whatever regulations we have regarding putting in a new building.
And that would be the state.
And that is what we have, so we're limited to what we can do. Whether they called it an ADU or a shed or whatever.
Structure is
it's
a
our-
structure.
It's
Our
structure,
bylaws still apply.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
yes. So all we
So
need is to
ignore
get-
that it's an ADU, it means nothing.
Right.
Okay. Does anything else, Joe?
Though I'd probably ask some more questions, some other people, but we're continuing this anyways.
Yes,
So-
to be staked.
Yep. go ahead,
Michael?
Mike.
Just to sound like a broken record, I'd like to see the site staked so I could see, I've got a good bearings on where the ADU is going to be located. That's all. Thank you, ma'am.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
Ditto, drove there, no stakes.
Yep.
Wasted
Well,
time.
keep in mind that when there's an RDA, there's nothing in the document that says it's staked. It is a request that we make.
Okay.
But if
'cause I
it's a
think
notice of intent, has to be
I
staked.
asked that question, I think, a meeting ago. Don't they have to have stakes? Do they or do they not for RDA? And it was several people, yes, they do.
Well,
So I
we
kinda
are
was going on
we
that.
are requesting it.
So nevertheless, they weren't
Yeah.
there, so.
Okay. All
hard to
right,
evaluate.
Scott,
No questions.
Jessica.
No questions.
Okay. We're going to continue, Steve, until you have a chance to stake it out for us. And our next hearing will be on May 7th. Can it be done by then?
Yep, I'll get it done ASAP.
Okay, thank you. I'll take
Coming
a...
to NOI?
Huh?
Is this going to be filed as an NOI after this?
Do we want? If we're continuing this in 5/7, at what time do we... We're continuing it because you wanted it staked. We can't do anything else because we continued it as a RDA.
Christine, would this fall under a positive determination?
If you guys want to see a notice of intent, yes.
But then when can we get it staked? Only if it goes to a notice of intent?
It can be staked if there's the RDA. It's depending on whether or not you guys want to have a notice of intent.
All right?
So for the property owner, or whoever's managing this, it would behoove them just to go right to the notice of intent anyway, because we postpone this for 2 weeks, we give a positive determination, it needs to have an NOI, and then they have to go through the whole process after that anyway.
Which
So-
means an engineering plan.
Exactly, so they might as well get a jump, I mean.
So instead of
I'm not gonna
continuing...
advise you, but that would be what I would
Well,
do.
if we want a notice of intent, what we can do is issue a positive finding today and in request a notice of intent to go forward, as opposed to it will be staked once it's to notice of intent. Am I getting don't continue it. Make a finding of a positive, so it will be denied as an RDA and request a notice of intent. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the stance that I am comfortable with.
Then someone make a motion to close the hearing, and then we can determine of a positive finding. Am I right? I have to close the hearing and make a finding.
Yes.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Our findings, please.
So what you would be looking for is a positive 3.
A positive 3?
So moved.
I make, the motion's been made for a positive 3, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstained. Opposed, abstained. I will get there now. We've denied the project as an RDA and make a recommendation. We make a, we recommend, we make a recommendation that a notice of intent be filed for this project. All right? Christine, fine?
Yes.
Okay. Steve, do you know what I've said?
Give or take, yeah.
That you have to come in the office and work with Christine, and we'll do a notice of intent for this project. All right?
Not a problem.
The next one is Russell McKinnon. They've asked a request for continuance until the
21st.
21st.
So moved.
Second.
Of May?
Yes.
May.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of continuance until May 21st?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. We have a hearing for the campground.
They still have not received a DEP file number.
Okay. I make a motion, you'll need a motion to continue until 5/7 pending a DEP.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we're continued until 5/7. Okay, if I can get mine.
I think she's here.
For who? Oh, come on, well, come on up.
But didn't we just,
We did close the hearing to continue, but I take a motion to unclose.
I think we also owe Charlotte dinner.
Yeah. So we have a motion to unclose. I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Please, have a seat and identify yourself, please.
Charlotte Brusso.
Okay, talk to us. You're set, here it is, 8:30, and you're still here.
That's why we owe her dinner.
I
I
was the
swear to
first
tell
one
the
here.
truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
For 341 on, okay, thank you. All right. You want to take down some trees?
Yes, please.
A lot of them, 25 or more?
I think it's about 25.
Okay, talk to us about the project.
We have a lot of dead trees. We've talked to numerous arborists over the last few years, and they keep telling us that we've got to be diligent on taking care of our trees if we want to keep the ones that are good, because they are diseased. We've got them dying. Right now, I've got one limb that's hanging and ready to fall on somebody, and we get very high winds down there, and it's just a dangerous situation right now. And some of these trees are 40 to 50 feet tall, so I'm just like,
Anybody have any questions? Follow me.
No questions, thank you.
No questions for me.
Joe, Michael.
I've drove down there, so I've seen a lot of like the trees all ribboned up and stuff. Is there any, and I'm just trying to remember now back in the plan, is there going to be any plan to actually replace some of those trees, or?
yes. Last year, we actually planted 4
All right.
3 to 4 year old maples, and we are planting some more. And some of the homeowners have already said they want to plant trees that are shorter. Because these trees are 40 to 50, they've been there for hundreds of years, so I mean.
So, is up to maybe, I'm not sure 25, but at least a very high amount anyway, or? Because it said remove 25 dead trees. Are you going to plan up to removing 25, or, I'm sorry, replanting, 25, or?
Yeah, I think
that
it's about
possible?
that many, because they're really dead, and some are going to be trimmed. There are some that need to be trimmed, because they have dead limbs on them, so we can save some of them, but most of them have to, you know.
All right, thank you.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
what about Jean?
Hi, so I drove around in there and kind of got lost and drove around, and I saw trees that were taped different places, but it's winter time, so it was really hard for me to, yes, they're trees, but you can't see dead from not dead.
Right.
It would be nice if it were a little, in a couple of months, to look at them and go, yep, they're all dead. So my question is, what kind of trees are they? Are they all dead, or some just other reasons why you want to get rid of them? And then I was going to ask, is there a plan for replacement of the trees that were taken? I missed what Michael was saying. I think he was talking about that.
Yes, the same question.
Okay, same question, would like to see them replaced. But if it's been going on for a few years, I'm just thinking out loud to you, couldn't we wait a little bit so we could actually take a look at those trees and see what kind they are, and dead or not dead, before we sign our names on the line that they should be removed?
We have to wait for DEP, so that's another 2
So
weeks.
we have to wait anyway,
That's
so
another 2 weeks down the line, so by 2 weeks.
pretty soon, in May,
Most of them
most
will-
of them start to leaf out, but it's still hard to tell, really. Once they get, the baby leaves, becomes pretty obvious.
But at least they have, starting to have a little leaf, you can tell it's alive.
Yeah,
versus
that's
not
true.
alive.
But also too, a live, one kind of tree is a little more valuable than a different
Right.
kind.
Actually, it was an arborist, and he actually had his little light, laser light, showing us which was dead and which was alive. The ones that were really damaged, it was chunks of the trunk was actually damaged, and big chunks of the trunk was actually removed and dying, and those are the ones that we want to remove. And the other ones he showed us where the limbs were actually already cracked. Some of them were going to fall on our electric lines.
Sure.
So that's why we wanted to we were trying to do it in the wintertime. We've been doing this since January, trying to get this done, because he said it was actually less damage to the ground, vegetation, by doing it in the wintertime.
So you're planning on pulling out the stumps entirely when?
No, no, the ones that are that are near the buffer zone are not going to be ground down.
Good.
It's only the ones that are near a driveway or near a house that are going to be ground down.
Okay. So you must have the list then from the arborist. Maybe could that be shared with us also, the list of the trees and the species, and to match with this map so we could know what we're looking at?
Most of them are pines or oaks. So. Great.
Well, I mean, not at this exact moment.
I have a ton of maps. Yeah.
Well,
Because if we're
hey,
going to.
Charlie, we're going to have to continue because
Yeah,
we're
so we
DEP. So we have the plan that was online, this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we did 4 maps of all the ones that they wanted, because every time I went up to the office, they wanted something else, the state. So we did 4 maps, and then the overlayment and the whatever else I needed. And
Are they online?
They're not online yet. I have sent them over to DEP.
Because DEP asked for more information, which is why this has been delayed.
Yes.
What did DEP ask for?
DEP was asking for the resource areas to be delineated on the plans. So they wanted to see the flood zone and the 100-foot buffer to the salt marsh.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Paula Jean?
No, it would just be good to have all that information at once, and then we could take a look and verify and make a decision.
Want these?
Oh, no, I have the copies in, oh, wait.
Oh, all right.
We'll wait for them to go online and we can look at them.
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right.
Are they new maps?
If you
Scott?
want to give her some materials, she's asking for it.
Yeah, because those look like new maps.
Scott?
So I'm a leaseholder on this property, so I don't want to ask any questions or make any comments about the merits of the project, one way or the other. But I do know that there are inaccuracies in the application itself, factual errors in the application. So in the time that you're waiting for the DP number to come, I would like to see those inaccuracies cleared up.
They are being fixed.
Thank you.
Okay, Jessica?
No questions.
I had Mark Pratt do it, so.
I don't,
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
matter who, they have to be fixed.
Charlotte? Christine?
I'm like, whoa.
Charlotte's there, Christine's there. I got it. Any comments?
No, you had, we've already seen all the trees that were being out there, and because I've been talking with the state about this, I've become even more familiar with it, so I don't have any other comments.
Okay. So we are now going back to continuing this until 5/7. Hopefully, we'll have a DEP number and some additional documents on file for us to look at for the specific trees. Because you're right, I've seen a lot that have holes in the trunk.
I motion to continue until May 7th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstained. We're done. We're 4-2. We're continuing. Now, what do we have left on the agenda? We have certification of compliance request.
So we have one for SE 762843. They were doing plantings, and they look fine. So recommend an issuance.
So moved.
We have that motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. It's done. Next one, please.
This was for 72B Burgess Point Road, SE 762770. Recommend issuance of a COC.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. I think the only thing we have left is Jessica.
I had an interesting conversation with commission member from another town who said that they have a slightly different process than we do, where they close the hearing and then open it up to the commission members for discussion. So it's actually similar kind of, I think we did that more tonight than we often do, but that opening it up to discussion among the members gives the members an opportunity to ask questions of each other, or to kind of talk through some of the things that, you know, while we might not all know everything about every topic that's sort of within this jurisdiction. And so that, you know, her opinion about that process was that it gave them, before they were asked to vote, it gave them more opportunity to learn from each other or raise other questions. And I don't know if that's a process that we could consider.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It kind of started to evolve that way a little bit, rather than you're on the spot, you have to think right then, and then your turn's over to say anything.
Yeah, but you could always
As long as we're
interrupt.
flexible, I think we have the same result, and that is a
We've,
good idea.
we've seen that happen tonight,
Yeah.
where
Right.
questions come up and people, wanted to continue to ask questions as more information may have been available, and if some question comes up.
More tonight than we often have.
Well, we normally don't have the activity
Yeah.
that allows that type of interface. I have no problem with people asking a second or third question. I mean, we sort of did it tonight.
But
I like
some of
that.
it isn't necessarily just questions to the applicant, but questions of each other, or to say like, hey, this concerns me, what do you guys think, before we go to a vote? So that it's not just sort of having to come up with your vote in the isolation of your own thoughts, that's all.
Okay.
Just a different model used in a different town.
I will try to be more flexible.
Oh, I find you to be flexible, but I just mean if we have the conversation, you know, that this is
So
something
that's
that-
what you're saying to the rest of us. Speak up, ask the questions.
Well, I
Not
mean,
just of the applicant, but, okay, Paula Jean, why do you always want to replace a tree? I mean, ask the question.
Yeah, I like air, I like to breathe.
I know.
Well, I mean, and also to be able to say like, are you guys concerned about this piece or not, or, you know?
And we heard that discussion about our 30 to 15 foot off of Barlow.
Yeah.
So normally in parliamentary procedure, when a motion is made and seconded, that's the time for discussion.
If,
Only after.
I second for discussion.
You
You have
second?
to say second for discussion.
Well, or the chair can say, I have a second, is there any discussion?
I will try to remember that.
I mean, it's just, we could try it, right?
I could try to remember that.
Some things
I had a
are,
tough time remembering a lot of stuff tonight.
We'll remind
some
you.
things are,
Great job.
don't need much discussion, right? Some just don't. But some things do. I mean, when we talked about seawalls, for example, we don't know about seawalls and their effect on the hydrology in the area, so we asked for more information. So there's some areas where we do need to talk about these things some more, and we can't always just wait for the third or fifth Wednesday of the month to do it. So I think this is a great suggestion.
So hypothetically, we could motion to close a hearing. It gets seconded, we go to discussion.
Before we vote.
Determine, we are not ready to close a
Yeah.
hearing. And then we deny closing the hearing, and then we motion to continue.
The question then becomes, if you close the hearing, can you still ask questions of the,
No.
that's the drawback with it. That would be only with it.
But it
within
hasn't
the-
been voted to close.
Right.
If we motion to close,
We shouldn't.
we second it, and then that opens discussion prior to voting on closure.
Closure.
And what
And then we
happens
could
what
nay.
potentially happens in a situation where the applicant hears the conversation and thinks, oh boy, this isn't gonna go my way, I wanna withdraw? Can they do that at that time?
Mr. Bowen?
Yeah, that's another question.
No refund.
Maybe something we can bring to them.
Yeah, no refunds at that point.
John? Please, he does a lot of zoning and planning, so I'm sure he's had this before.
Make it a little easier for him to get the audio from me.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Not in the slightest. John Day, Wareham Media. So I film and cover all of the other committees in town. This is something that other committees have actually already done. But yes, what they do initially is they have the conversation like you guys do. You go around, each person talks, asks questions of the individual. If no more questions are deemed to be asked of the individual putting forth the proposal, then they close the hearing, and then the chair asks any conversation. Then the board has their free time to be able to go over anything that they would like to talk about specifically that isn't attributed to questions to the applicant, but attributed to how the board feels about the individual answer that they want to give, yay or nay. So that's how I think planning does it, and I think zoning's done it that way.
So they close the hearing.
They close the hearing, but they close the hearing after they're done asking questions of the applicant. Because yes, you cannot ask questions of the applicant.
And the applicant can no longer give us information. When we close the hearing, there can be no other discussion with the applicant to or from us. We can only speak among ourselves.
Right.
Isn't the only disadvantage to that is as we speak among ourselves, we may be like, oh, we didn't ask the applicant, and we're stuck. And
You
now
got
can
it.
we go back and ask?
Yeah, so it gets a
Or do
little
we
tricky
burn
in
the
that
bridge?
regard, because
Yes,
once you
you've
close
burnt
the
the
hearing,
bridge.
you can't have any new information
Yeah.
brought forth.
Because we might need some new information. In the conversation, we would discover that we want more information.
So we should, before we close the hearing, we should ask if there's any discussions.
That would be the best way. So go
Therefore-
around, do your individual, each person ask their questions, and then have a roundtable discussion about it before closing the hearing,
Without closing.
just in case you do have
Before we
other
close the
questions.
hearing.
I like the
Yeah,
idea
I like
of
that.
that discussion period, because there are things that, we're being asked to vote on that I know other commission members are more knowledgeable about than I am. And I would be interested in more information from a more impartial person.
Okay?
Right, especially if you're at the dreaded end of the table, and depending on where Sandy starts, and you're like, and then you can process it as you hear what everyone says.
All right. Okay, we will try that. Thank you, John. I really asked Jessica, have you considered reappointment?
I think I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
But if it's, as long as it's okay, I know I'm away for some months in the winter.
You're away for 2 months. So we have appointments, interviews, and reappointments on our consent agenda, so I will take a motion to recommend Jessica Parr be reappointed to Conservation Commission.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 700. I will write a letter to the Select Board that it's our recommendation, and you were given a document that you had to fill out. You have to make an application.
Okay. The one that you just gave me?
No, that was for that was for Corey. If you go to the Select Board website, appointments, there is an application you need to say, I'm going to be reappointed. It's a formal one.
Okay.
And I sent that, of course, I sent it to you 2 months ago, I understand. All right. Is there anything else? We've had a discussion under 48 hours, et cetera, et cetera.
There is one. I don't know if any of you have been over by Church Street lately, right behind St. Patrick's Church Hospital parking lot. It's come to my knowledge from a few other individuals that work in the town as well. There is a big couch right in the wetlands, right on Church Street. And I've sent an email to Derek Sullivan, Judy Whiteside, and involved a couple other individuals, and it doesn't seem like anything is getting removed from an area anytime
Well,
soon.
it takes a while. There's one off of Crooked River Road in the wetlands, too, a chair.
I just hate seeing all this debris. It's,
Until you catch somebody dumping their furniture, you can't.
who do you blame?
Well, the
Yeah.
property
All you can
owner's
do is
responsible.
Well, the property owner on this one is Wareham.
notify municipal maintenance that there is debris in the wetlands, and please, when they have a chance, they will pick it up. It doesn't happen overnight.
I just figured I'd bring that
Yep,
to the committee.
It just,
So could Christine send a $200 fine to municipal maintenance?
Or the
No,
imprisonment.
it would be a $300 fine because we wouldn't allow dumping in the wetlands.
That's right.
And we can use it to pay Autumn.
The other thing,
did you get your money?
I would like to note in
Oh
any
my
other
gosh.
business that neither myself nor Paula Jean O'Neill have been reimbursed.
I physically walked all the paperwork needed to the accounting department 2 weeks ago. I do not understand. They've not gotten hold of me saying I need something else.
Can we ask the
I gave them a
representative?
copy of our minutes that showed how we voted and where the funds were coming from. I don't know what else I can do.
Can we ask someone from the accounting office to attend our next meeting?
It won't happen.
Why don't
You
they
can
just
ask, but it won't happen.
credit our tax bill next time around?
Send it
I don't
done in-
understand.
Have the town council send it.
I don't
Because
either.
because they denied it, because our minutes, they had an old set of minutes. They didn't have the new set of minutes that said we were funding from. So they denied it, and they deleted the request for payment. Josh was going to resubmit the request for payment 2 weeks ago. I don't know why it hasn't happened.
So far as I know, Josh hasn't received anything denying it. He hasn't received anything from it yet,
Okay,
so.
now, the warrant was signed on Tuesday, I think. I think the checks are released on Thursday, so I'm hoping that you're included in that, because that would have been the time frame. Because it takes about 10 days to 2 weeks to get it through the process.
Yes.
And I stomped into the office 2 weeks ago and made my point clear that these are the minutes, they're approved. It says what we are to pay and where the funds were coming from, so there should be no question.
Thank you, Sandy.
We'll
Thank
try
you,
what
Christine,
happens
and
in
thank you,
2
Josh.
weeks. Oh,
It's just absurd.
I apologize, I don't know what the issue has been, but it's very embarrassing that you've had to wait almost 2 years to be reimbursed for taking a course to better your
Serve the
knowledge in this, serving the town. Oh,
Sandy, there's just one last thing, I'm sorry.
you sure?
Yes.
Okay, please.
There's not.
You want to ride home?
Yes, I do. On the 30th, we have a workshop scheduled to go over the rules and regulations. I know Josh has been working on those, and some of us have worked on those as well. So I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but I think all the commissioners should have the worked on rules and regulations to see where they are, so they can prepare ahead of the 30th meeting.
So will you work on the agenda?
Yes.
You got the note that has to be 54 hours before the meeting to post the agenda as opposed to 48?
Yep.
And it's going to be in this room because it is the 5th week. There should be nothing in here.
What time is the 30th event? Because candidate night for all the different elections in town are being held.
Dear.
Where is it, here? Oh, I
That
could-
would have been funny, huh?
So therefore.
Well, it depends what
can we-
time it is.
Maybe 27?
Maybe.
Because I thought we talked about, I guess we didn't book the room.
Yeah, I think Jody got in there first.
Okay.
Can we have it across the,
That's candidate night on.
Well, I would prefer it not be on candidate night, though I am,
But-
but I would love to be here. I don't know, Scott, did you?
But keep in mind that it may not,
True, but if we move it a couple days before, so we have the room.
no, but there isn't a window.
Also, Wednesday's tricky for 27.
Yeah, but the 5th Monday, the 5th Wednesday, normally there isn't much done in the 5th week.
It's the Wednesday after town meeting, so finance might be in there.
Just
That's
have it
true.
right now.
Okay, we need time to work on what the regs are. Christine, find a room,
Yeah.
let us know what dates we have available, then we can pick and choose which one, because it's certainly not going to happen the 5th Wednesday this month.
Okay, so.
All right?
Get off my
And-
We need a room.
And everyone needs a copy of the latest version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh
So
has been working on it.
we're not doing it on the 30th then?
No, we don't have a room.
All right, so that's canceled.
Well, unless the room can be found in the next day,
The 25th? 26th is Saturday. Oh, Saturday.
24.
That's the only other one with Zoom compatibility, and you guys require Zoom for your meetings.
Does it have to be Zoom?
For a workshop.
For this?
No. What?
We just need a place to
Have
get
to be
together.
Zoom?
That's
It's a big
27.
building, and what about all these?
That's
I mean, the
FinCom.
rooms up and down the hall.
FinCom.
I think it has to be accessible to the
Meet in the
public.
hallway, for God's sakes.
All right.
It was a workshop.
We adjourn.
Was it for public?
They filmed it.
The works, we would not be using Zoom, but you'd want to record us, which allows 24 is doable.
Right.
And room's doable for recording. You guys are having a meeting, which you guys are supposed to be Zoom.
No, this is not open to public comment.
No.
This is just a workshop.
It's a workshop.
Then yes, 24 will work, or any other room will work if it's just a recording.
Hallway.
Just recording. So see if 24 is available. If 24 is available, we can still do the 30th.
Well, is it in conflict?
If you wanted to meet the candidates, yes. Well, what time are we going to do it? 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
Yeah, what time is
I
your,
believe it's 5:30.
your 5:30?
Well, I think I'm on around 7, but
Hmm.
I'd be happy to make it if it's a reasonable time. But this room, I believe, is the room that
Yeah,
they're doing the
more
candidates.
than likely, it's tended to be this room. All right. So look for 24 on the 30th at 6 o'clock. You're going to give us the most current versions that Josh has provided for our regulations. And if you miss it, I'm sorry. We got to work on them. We really do. It's been months.
The best thing I propose is an earlier date, but I mean, we
No,
can't-
there isn't, I don't know of an earlier date.
we're running it pretty quick here. This is the next, talking in more than 7 days from now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like 2 weeks.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm both glad and sorry that I brought it up.
Well, you mentioned it, and
I just,
first thing in my mind is
I'll look
30th. and
into-
this-
I'm thinking of when I have a window too.
I'll look into seeing available rooms and seeing which dates might be available that aren't the 30th, if that works for everybody's schedule.
Well, wait a minute.
Please don't put this on.
Wait, no, I'm gonna back away. The
Candidate.
23rd is a Wednesday, right? I can tell you 24 is available because CPC is not having a meeting.
What about sewer?
That's Thursdays. Because CPC is not meeting on the 23rd, they have room 24, so is that doable for anybody if we do this on the 24th? 24th?
23rd.
23rd.
Yeah, I don't think I'm working next Wednesday.
Everybody look at your calendar.
My piece of paper.
You're not here?
calendar.
All right,
School vacation from,
23rd is a Wednesday.
another vacation.
school vacation.
Shoot. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one.
All right,
Guys would
Listen,
not want
I'm
that
looking for
public
another.
comment.
I got next Wednesday night off.
okay, 23rd won't do it either. I really need,
You guys can stick to 30. I don't want anything that I have.
okay, look for the 30th,
Yeah, keep the 30th.
because I'm gonna say something. Joe wins, he's off.
Great.
Joe wins, he steps
Like,
down.
He's a whole nother person now when I saw him. He was just barely walking.
Okay, we'll focus on the 30th. Room, find us a room,
How's that?
probably 24, just to be recorded. Make sure you work with WCTV. I'm not gonna get used to your new name, so Wareham Media.
We're Wareham Media, we're WCTV doing business as Wareham Media, so both technically work.
Okay, just as long as they can be there to record us.
All right. And I have one more thing to bring
Oh,
up.
come on.
So
It's 9 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
Ooh.
I knew it was gonna be a long meeting.
So we recently updated the town website with the having to have projects staked out at the time of submission. So something that has been raised before by a few different people is, depending on the complexity of the project, how would the commission feel about having some projects be unstaked? For example, if you had like a shed or something that you could very clearly tell where it is by looking at a plan.
Nope, it all gets staked. You can't
Yeah,
make
'cause
the
it-
assumption someone can read the plan.
It would make a judgment call for the applicants, and who knows?
I would say it's staked, even if it is a shed.
All right, so you guys just want to have stakes?
Yes, to be consistent, because you're right. I can't very well make the assumption someone can read a plan, or they put it upside down and, yeah, just for consistency. Even if someone puts in 4 snow stakes like they did on one of the projects.
Cones or markings or something, yeah.
Okay,
All right,
anything else?
that was the last thing.
Then please,
I motion to adjourn at 8:49.
I have a
Second.
motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
Thank you.
abstained, thank you. Hopefully, we'll see you on the 30th. We have paperwork to sign.